Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to Thursday Night Football. We are just a few mere hours away from the kickoff between the Dallas Cowboys taking on the defending champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. Happy NFL kickoff day. For those of you who have joined us here on this live stream for the next 2 hours plus, we're answering any and all fantasy football related questions with the singular purpose of trying to give you an advantage upon your league mates and, of course, start out the season on the right foot. If you have any players playing today and you have any questions, be sure to go ahead, type it in the live chat. If you guys want priority on those questions, of course, you guys know the super chat is always available in order to claim priority and, of course, support the channel even beyond that. It is greatly appreciated. But again, first and foremost, welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are just as excited as I am. Of course, this is a long time coming for week one, but we have an exciting game upon us here with the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Hopefully, fingers crossed, this is not going to be a one-sided affair. Hopefully, we will see a lot of fantasy points scored for our teams. Now, before I get into answering questions, because again, there are many of you in the live stream who have already sent in questions, really quick reminder. Again, if you guys want rankings, I have already posted videos for running back, wide receiver, tight end, and quarterback rankings on the channel. If you want further rankings beyond that, of course, you can always check out Betr for Sunday morning rankings by signing up today using code Andrew, making that first time deposit minimum of 10 and making that first time play within a real play. All you have to do is pick more or less on two-player statistics, and you're good to go. Again, I've talked about it all off season, but if you want to go ahead and get my Sunday morning rankings for the remainder of the season, that is a way to which you can go ahead and do so. And new users who sign up today get a free $10 via Betr. Of course, take advantage of that opportunity. And of course, check out the map to the right side of the screen to determine your eligibility on that. Now, outside of that, I've already posted rankings on my Patreon for those of you who are interested, and for those of you who are members there, so keep an eye out for that. Outside of that, let's get into answering some of these questions, shall we? First and foremost, we had Crip, who sent in a question, who said the following: in a full PPR, would you play Swift, Hall, Waddle, Judy, or Dobbins in my flex position? As it currently stands amongst the players that you've mentioned, I would prefer to play Swift. The reason why I'm leaning towards DeAndre Swift, and in comparison to where I had him ranked on Monday's running back rankings video, he has increased his overall ranking based on the injuries to the backfield. Roschon Johnson missed practice earlier today for the Chicago Bears. Additionally, the rookie Kyle Monangai, he is also limited with a hamstring injury. There is a high possibility in which Swift is the lone back of the Chicago Bears this week. That means all of the opportunity going in his direction within a Ben Johnson offense, so I'm very excited about that potential. I'll lean towards DeAndre Swift there. We had Abram, who sent in a question. Thank you very much, sir. Says Laporta or Kraft. I would prefer to play Laporta there. I got him 2 spots ahead of Kraft in a half PPR. Your next question is in regards to a full PPR. Of the mentioned players, McLaurin, Swift, Smith, Pollard, and potentially one of those 2 tight ends, who would you play in the flex? If this is a half PPR, depending on, as of right now, I'm going to lean towards McLaurin. In the event in which we get into a situation in which, again, we have a confirmation that Monangai is still limited, Roschon Johnson's completely out, I may lean towards Swift, but as of right now, I'm going to tell you to play McLaurin out of the bunch there. The final question being Cameron Dicker or Tyler Bass. I would like to play Cameron Dicker this week as your kicker. All right, let's continue on. We got a lot of questions upon us here. Hope you guys are doing well. If you guys haven't yet already, do me a favor. Click the like button down below. Continues to help support the channel as we are on our way to 100,000 subscribers. I cannot thank you guys enough for helping us continue to reach that goal throughout this journey. All right, let's see here. Nay Ray sends in a question. Says, I have Jaden Blue, I have Charbonnet, I have Godwin on my bench. Ollie Gordon, Thornton, Aomanor are available on the wire. Only 3 bench spots. Who do I take? So considering Godwin is sitting in your IR spot of the available, I think it really depends on what kind of a wide receiver depth you have on roster. If you see yourself in a position to where you're going to need wide receiver depth over the course of the next 4 weeks prior to the return of Chris Godwin, Thornton would be my suggestion. If you do not need wide receiver depth and you're pretty solid on those points, I think Ollie Gordon is the better of the potential shots going into this week in case he does have a greater carved out role than we currently anticipate. If that role consists of him dominating, early down work, goal line usage, there's a lot of value to be had within that backfield based on what we witnessed in 2023 with Raheem Mostert, and of course even last season with Achane. But as of right now, I personally am always leaning to try to find that lottery ticket running back. This could be in favor of Thornton. I know that Amari Cooper obviously just retired earlier today. I don't think that really played much of an impact on Thornton, especially early in the season, as Amari Cooper hasn't learned the offense yet anyway. So as of right now, it just depends on what you need. One of those 2 are my preferred as we kind of persist. You did mention that you have Egbuka, Sutton, CeeDee Lamb, and Ladd McConkey. So in my opinion, I'd probably lean in the direction of most likely picking up that running back and hoping you score on the lottery ticket. Corey Miller sends in a question. Thank you very much, Corey. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. In a 12-team PPR league, he says, my team consists of Dak Prescott, Drake May, Bucky Irving, Connor, Sampson, Benson, CD, T. Higgins. I have Tedero, McMillan, Godwin, Debo, Tyler Warren, Aubrey in the Steelers defense. Can you give me any suggestions, any comments on my team? Yeah, I mean, look, as of right now, looking at the team across the board, obviously you started with a CD Lamb, Bucky Irving kind of approach for this draft. T. Higgins in the 3rd round, McMillan in the 4th, Connor probably in the 5th most likely, or vice versa. Seeing as to how you built your team, you didn't really go for any sort of quarterback or tight end advantage. That's really going to be the X factor of your team. Otherwise, kind of the studs of the running back and wide receiver and flex positions will deliver. I mean, they're going to do their jobs. Those 5 players are going to be solid. It's just purely a matter of, can Tyler Warren be a valuable option from the get-go, from week 1 as a rookie tight end? Again, it's not as easy as that. Hopefully, I would potentially maybe have another tight end on roster just in case Tyler Warren doesn't ignite come week 1. Maybe we can go ahead and give him a couple weeks of buffer time. Otherwise, I like the idea of playing Dak and May based on matchup. Solid team overall, and of course, the core 5 pillars of your team. Very strong there, Corey. Thank you. Powerhouse sends in a question. Thank you very much, Powerhouse. Says Aaron Jones in a half PPR or Emeka Egbuka this week. I would prefer to play Egbuka, to be honest. Let me just go check my rankings right now. Let me confirm that in a half PPR. I've moved up Egbuka just a slight amount, but as it currently stands, yes, I have Egbuka as my number 47 in a half PPR. He's about 6 spots ahead of Aaron Jones. I do expect a lot of usage out of Jordan Mason. Again, Jordan Mason is probably going to see himself upwards of 8, 9, 10 touches minimum within the upcoming contest against the Chicago Bears. Monday Night Football should be an exciting matchup against the Vikings, or against the Chicago Bears, between the Vikings and them. But yes, I would play Emeka Egbuka this week against the Atlanta defense, especially with Cade Otton still not 100%. He did practice today, which is great, but it just does give a little bit more credence to the idea of playing Egbuka in the absence of Godwin and McMillan and a little bit of a hobbled Otton in that situation. Thank you, Powerhouse. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you very much. I just want to make sure I don't skip anybody's questions here. So after Powerhouse, we took care of those 4. Perfect. Anthony Cervantes. Thank you very much. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Very familiar name. Says, great to see you, brother. Chat below. Okay, let me see what you got here, brother. Says, in a 12-man full PPR, we have Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley. Beautiful. You're going to have a wonderful Thursday here. Achane, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison, Tyler Warren, Tracy. My bench consists of Travis Hunter, Calvin Ridley, Adam Thielen. Would you make any changes to my starters in another year to good fantasy? Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Anthony. Okay, so he says, good to see you. So the team as a whole, a lot of depth. The fact that your bench consists of Hunter and Ridley is, I mean, that's remarkable to an extent. Because again, as soon as they start to pick up momentum, teams are going to come asking for trades in your league, which again, puts you in a powerful position. As to the switches that I would make going into this week, I'd honestly prefer to play a Travis Hunter ahead of a Garrett Wilson this week, to be honest, in a full PPR. I think that offense is going to be streamlined for a lot of points in comparison to what we're going to potentially see out of that Jets offense. So personally, if I'm not mistaken, let me check what my full PPR rankings consist of at wide receiver here. As of right now, I have Travis Hunter. Yeah, I have him ahead of Ridley. I have him ahead of Garrett Wilson. So I'd make that swap. Outside of that, I mean, obviously, Tyler Warren's your tight end. Tracy is your flex. I'm leaving Tracy there in the flex position as well, above those available options. So Garrett Wilson's pretty much being swapped out for Travis Hunter. That's the way that I would go about it in a full PPR as of this week, Anthony. If you don't want to, make that swap, again, as of right now, between Hunter and Garrett Wilson, it's like a 3-rank difference in terms of projection points. It's really not a significant amount. So if you want to just stick with Garrett Wilson, the guy you drafted early, you perfectly can. But that's the only thing that I would suggest. Best of luck. Thank you very much, sir. Coaster sends in a question, says, rate my team. We have Bo Nix, we have Justin Jefferson, we have Nico Collins. Okay, pretty good start already. Bucky Irving, we have Dobbins, we have Pearsall, Hawkinson. Any recommendations, or is it okay? Yeah, I mean, I think it's purely going to be a matter of your X factor is J.K. Dobbins, because everybody else on your team is our studs, right? Like when you have Jefferson, Collins, and Bucky Irving, you know what you're going to get. Bo Nix going into year 2 with an improved offense surrounding him, it only helps his potential for upside. Hawkinson, another year removed from that ACL, fantastic. Pearsall, again, you guys know how high I am on him going this season, even regardless with the fact that Jawan Jennings is returning from the calf injury and obviously inked a new deal in which he has $3 million of incentives based on playing time for the remainder of the year. So all things considered, it's a solid team. J.K. Dobbins is your X factor. If he is the starter or at least has pole position within this backfield to get consistent opportunity on a weekly basis, that's fantastic. If in fact he doesn't, we're going to have to look for an RB2 in the coming weeks. Otherwise, again, very strong team with the one singular question mark of whether or not Dobbins can deliver on a weekly basis for you, depending on matchup and depending on his usage shares compared to one Harvey. Thank you. RJ Harvey, that is the rookie running back. All right, continuing on, we had a question from Johnny Kilroy. Johnny, hope you're doing well, brother. Says starting lineup consists of Neighbors, Adams, Henry, Jacobs, Ingram, Moore, and Connor. Fantastic. On my bench consists of Hampton, Egbuka, Myers, Dobbins, and Ford. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, when you have James Conner, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs, yes, unfortunately, Omarion Hampton has to be sat this week. When you have Neighbors, Devontae Adams, and DJ Moore, Egbuka has to be sat this week. So you are in one of those positions, Johnny, to where you have so many good players that it almost does you a disservice, which again, it's not a disservice. It just makes it more difficult as the weeks persist to where making that flex decision is going to be tough. So as of right now, I would say fantastic looking team. Your bench is stacked, and I would leave it as is going into this weekend. I don't think anything would potentially change those rankings unless an injury was to occur within the next 24 hours that would potentially sway the projections for these players. Thank you. Perk Nowitzki sends in a question. Perk, hope you're doing well. Says Caleb Johnson or Jordan Mason as my RB2 this week in a half PPR. As of right now, based on where I have them ranked, let me just confirm this. Earlier this week, it was Jordan Mason. I believe I still have Jordan Mason ahead of Caleb Johnson as of this week as your RB2. That's what I would suggest going into the matchup. Thank you. Brian sends in a question. Thank you very much, Brian. I appreciate that. If I could pronounce your last name, I would, brother. I would, trust me. Let's see here. Swift or Breece Hall rest of season in a full PPR, excuse me. I mean, as of let me just go ahead and pull up my just kind of rest of season rankings based on our draft rankings per se. As of where I had Swift in comparison to Breece Hall, I had them 3 rankings difference, right? Breece Hall was my number 20 in a full PPR. DeAndre Swift, my number 23. As it currently stands, if you wanted to make that swap, I don't have an issue with it. I think they're close enough within the ranking to where you could justify that move if you want and you do prefer the potential remainder of the season, the full season of what Swift can provide comparatively. As of right now, I'd still stick with Breece Hall there. Let's see here. Okay, we're continuing on. Again, for those of you who are joining us on this wonderful Thursday afternoon, again, first and foremost, happy NFL Kickoff Thursday. Hope you guys are having a great day, and hopefully tonight's games can lean you in the right direction. Obviously, I can't answer everyone's question, even though I will try to over the course of the next 2 hours prior to kickoff. Again, hopefully by proxy of other people's questions, it will answer yours. If you guys want potentially all-encompassing rankings, as of right now, you can go ahead, travel on over to my Patreon. Again, there's a link down in the description. If you sign up using the main 2025 Fantasy Football Champion tier, not only will you get, week 1 through 18 rankings, this is of course, a Thursday and Sunday edition for those rankings, but you'll also get access to the exclusive Patreon-only Discord server, and you can ask me unlimited questions over the course of the subscription because, of course, whether you have a waiver wire or trade question or a starter sit, any of that nature, that is available to be answered via the Patreon. Thank you very much. Appreciate the support. Okay, continuing on. We are Eric, who sent in a question. Eric, thank you very much, sir. Says, hey, Andrew. I have Caleb Williams and Justin Fields in a full PPR, but 1 point per every 10 receiving yards and 1 point per every 5 rushing yards, which applies to quarterbacks. Would you change your rankings of the two? I'll be asking you this all year. Okay, Eric, considering it's okay, so let's just put it this way. Over the course of the last 3 seasons of Justin Fields' career, he's averaging about 50 to 60 rushing yards per game. So if we were to do a little bit of math on that, that's about the potential of 10 to 12 points of fantasy points just off of rushing yards, not even touchdowns. So that kind of a scoring change within the format leans me in the direction of absolutely playing Justin Fields there with confidence, because regardless of how the script potentially plays out here, whether they're up, whether they're down, whether they're equal, Justin Fields is going to be running, and he's going to be implicated for his rushing yardage. I just want to confirm, let's let me put out a calculator here. under the assumption that he gets 60 yards, yeah, divided by 5, that's 12 points. That's literally the equivalent of 3 extra additional passing touchdowns for his scoreline, which in a 4-point per passing touchdown league is diabolical. Justin Fields is one of the better quarterbacks in that format, outside of course, guys like Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, etc. So yeah, Fields is fantastic. I'd play him this week for you, Eric. Thank you. It's not to say that, Caleb Williams isn't capable of running. It's just, it's not as a part of the, potential offensive scheme as what, Fields is going to provide with that read option and all that kind of jazz. All right, moving on to Rob Monahan. Rob, hope you're doing well, sir. Says in a full PPR, I got Mahomes, I got CMC, Bucky Irving, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, David Njoku, and King Henry in my flex. Cardinals defense and the Tampa Bay kicker McLaughlin. Beautiful. On my bench, we have Sutton, Charbonnet, Brian Robinson Jr., Goddard, Shakir, and Fields. Please rate any moves. Okay, yeah, cool. As of right now, the fact that you have Sutton on the bench scares me. Like, that's how stacked your team is, to where you feel so comfortable to where you can sit someone like Sutton. So already in itself, that's fantastic. I think really, again, when you have Christian McCaffrey, Bucky Irving, King Henry as your 3 running backs, when you have Terry, DJ, and Sutton, and you can play matchups accordingly with them, I think all of that is fantastic for you. The biggest question mark really is, Mahomes, because we all know that Njoku with Joe Flacco is going to deliver, especially within the upcoming matchups that they have, all the negative game scripts that they're going to witness going forward here. And of course, this team not wanting to throw Dylan Gabriel into those terrible matchups, Njoku will be great. Mahomes is pretty much your wild card. And then obviously we're going to swap defense every single week with the waiver wire suggestions I make on Mondays. Otherwise, really solid overall team, really solid bench depth. You have the insurance policies. You also have the lottery ticket of Charbonnet. I think it's all in a pretty solid position. Am I making any moves? Not really. I think you just kind of want to see it play out, see if Fields could potentially take some starting roles from Mahomes depending on upcoming matchups based on how he performs this week and next. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. All right, let's see here. C. Manich says, full PPR, Pearsall or Hunter? That's a great question. Let me check where I have them ranked accordingly. So as it stands right now, Travis Hunter still a little bit behind Ricky Pearsall. I'm still going to lean towards Ricky there. Ricky Pearsall sits at number 26. Travis Hunter is my number 28. I feel really strong about Travis Hunter this week. I'm going to play it a little bit more aggressive. I know he's a rookie wide receiver, but how that offense is functioning with Liam Cohen, utilizing a lot of slot receiving opportunities for someone like Travis Hunter. Again, he is named a starting wide receiver, and a backup corner is only going to be utilized on some defensive usage sets. I would, absolutely still feel comfortable playing either of the two, but if I had to pick, it would be Ricky Pearsall in this current position. But again, I don't think there's a wrong answer between either of them, as I have, again, number 26 wide receiver and my number 28 wide receiver. Very close. Kind of go with whatever you feel like if Pearsall isn't something that you're not immediately feeling. As for your next question, Eckler or Harvey, I'd rather play Eckler there, to be honest. Between the two of them, oh, sorry, you said an Eckler or Harvey? Yeah, no. As of right now, let's play. That's actually tough. I think Eckler is the safer play between the two. Let's probably lean towards that, because I kind of want to wait and see what Harvey is going to provide, while I still know that Eckler is going to be in the mix without a doubt this week. Like, I know that Harvey's going to be in the mix. It's just a matter of how much is that. How many attempts is that? How many rushing attempts? How many receiving opportunities? All that kind of jazz. Ryan Tank sends in a question. Thank you, Ryan. Says, Andrew, we miss you, bro. But seeing you again only means one thing, football. That's right. Are we too low on Pickens this week? Seeing a lot of hype everywhere. I don't know. I mean, it really just depends on how you want to play fantasy football in this circumstance, right? Like, as of right now, George Pickens has the opportunity on any given play to go 40 yards for a touchdown. It's just purely a matter of how the defense of the Philadelphia Eagles play. Based on how I've witnessed Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator, kind of construct this overall kind of game plan, they're going to sit in zone about 70% of the time. They're going to let their front four, which again is an incredible pass rush, try to get after Dak Prescott and cause havoc. So really, they're just going to rely on the fact that their pass rush will get there before Dak feels comfortable letting go of the ball. Now, when Pickens is the number 2, if not the number 3 receiving option after Lamb and Ferguson, it gives me a little bit less potential for excitement in that circumstance, considering they're going to be, really up against a good football team. But yeah, if you want to play him, go for it. As of right now, I have him as a low-end wide receiver 3, high-end wide receiver 4 within the matchup. I don't know how much of an opportunity share he's going to get because, again, this is his first game as a Dallas Cowboy. So whether he's littered with targets is something to be determined as we proceed here. But again, we know that he's not a wide receiver that is going to be peppered and catch the ball 10 times. He's more of a possession wide receiver on the outside. He has to make a big play and has to make a couple some contested catches on the course to trying to be fantasy relevant. D Real sends in a question, says Sutton or Harvey in my flex. I'd rather play Sutton there, to be honest. Snead is shadowing Sutton. Yeah, but L'Jarius Snead is already injured. He's been limited in each of the last 2 days of practice, which it isn't even like NIR, which is like non-injury related. It is purely just he's limited because of an injury. So Snead has been dealing with injuries all of last season, went to the IR, already this season, limited in practice in week 1, which isn't already great. So I know that Snead, of course, is a fantastic cornerback, especially from his days with the Kansas City Chiefs, but as to his potential this week, I'm still leaning towards Sutton. He's not going to shadow him the entire game. Sean K sends in a question, says flex, Tedero McMillan or Marion Hampton in a full PPR. I would lean towards McMillan there. Thank you, Sean K. Appreciate it. Andrew Gang sends in a question, says roster 1. Wide receiver and 1 flex. Need some help with it. Okay, cool. Says, who do I start between Pickens, Egbuka, Myers, and Travion Henderson? Cool. I mean, as of right now, I would lean in the direction of playing Egbuka and Travion Henderson. That's how I would play it. Says half PPR, currently have Pickens and Egbuka. Yeah, listen, if you want to play for the upside of Pickens and you're hoping that he will find the end zone in a negative game script or at least a very solid yardage count with a couple deep receptions, that's definitely within the realm of possibility. These are things that are baked into the potential value of a player. So if you don't want to take the risk on what Myers provides or what Travion Henderson provides, considering, again, he is a rookie within an upcoming matchup that we're not 100% certain as to what his workload share is going to be, you can absolutely go with Pickens and Egbuka there in a half PPR. As I currently have it ranked, Egbuka and Henderson are ranked higher within my rankings. But I will say Henderson is only 3 spots ahead of Pickens. Actually, you said half PPR, right? So let me just check this. That was in full. Let me just adjust it really quickly. Yeah. In a half, I'm going to play Henderson, personally. If you want to play Pickens, I don't have an issue with it. Thank you. Luis Castillo sends in a question, says, hey, boss, in a 10-team league, Autodraft gave me 3 quarterbacks, Hurts, McCarthy, and Dak Prescott. Wondering who to drop between McCarthy and Dak. Both? Genuinely, I would drop both. Now, let me just check this real quick. Eagles bye week here. So the Eagles' upcoming bye week is in week 9. I would drop them both. I don't think you need to have a second quarterback on roster, personally. That's just the way that I feel about fantasy football. I'd rather go and I'd rather pick up a player like a Dylan Sampson or an Ollie Gordon or somebody like that that may be available on your waiver wire that could be of value as a lottery ticket after week 1, to which you've picked them up beforehand and don't have to utilize priority or fab in that circumstance. So I drop them both personally, and I'd go after anything that's available on the waiver wire. If I had to keep one of the two, as it currently stands, I would keep Dak because I know what I'm going to get within his overall investment. Thank you. Continuing on, we had Eric Avalar, who says, in a full PPR, do I flex Breece Hall or Egbuka? I'd rather flex Egbuka there. Loveland or Henry? Let me see where I have Hunter Henry in a full PPR. Hunter Henry is 1 spot ahead of Colston Loveland in a full PPR. He's my number 14 compared to Colston Loveland, who sits at my number 15. So I'd go with Egbuka there, and I go with Hunter Henry. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bossa B, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Says, in a 12-team standard league, should I drop either Leggett or Tillman? Okay, let's see. What do we have here? Leggett or Tillman for Thornton, or don't bother at all. This is the thing. Thornton is going to be a starter, but you have to remember he's most likely going to be the number 3 or 4 receiving option behind Bowers, Myers, Genty, and then it'll be Thornton. So until Myers potentially gets traded, which again, there's a lot of momentum regarding that over the course of the last 48 hours in the potential circumstance that we're seeing in, but as it stands, I'd rather keep what you currently have on roster, personally. Yeah, I'd rather keep the potential of what Tillman and Leggett could potentially provide within their offenses, considering Leggett doesn't have as much target competition now with Adam Thielen and Jalen Coker gone, and Tillman, associated with the Joe Flacco offense, immediately gets a boost. Thank you. Nathan Dennison, thank you very much, says, thoughts on Nico rankings? Kirk be out for weeks. Yeah, so Is he going to be out for weeks? Did he go to the injured reserve? I know that Christian Kirk didn't practice yesterday. I haven't seen anything as of today yet. Maybe I missed something in regards to his potential health. Let me check the injury report really quickly. Let's go to injuries, Houston Texans. I don't see anything updated on their site, so let me just look it up myself. 1 second. Thank you very much. Christian Kirk injury. Not practicing again Thursday. Yeah, so he's going to miss this week, which in my mind, I don't think it impacts Nico too much. I think if anything, it helps Jaden Higgins more and Dalton Schultz more. Nico's always going to get his baked-in value. And the way to attack the Rams secondary, as someone who frequents and watches a lot of Rams games as a Los Angeles native, there is a lot of potential in which Nico Collins over the top of that defense, because that's the way that you find success against that secondary. It's over the top on one-on-one coverage. When the opportunities arrive, Nico will be valuable. But are those opportunities going to increase because of the absence of someone like Christian Kirk? I don't think so. I think now you get Noel into the slot position, the rookie wide receiver that is going to get a little bit more value there. Higgins, Schultz within that intermediate game in comparison. But, Nico Collins, again, he's an auto start. We know that, right? He's a top 10 wide receiver every single week when healthy. I think this just honestly, if Kirk is going to miss significant time, Jaden Higgins, guys. Jaden Higgins. The only second-round selected wide receiver in the 2025 NFL Draft that I was really potentially high on this offseason because, again, usually on average, only one of those wide receivers selected in the second round actually kind of provide value on where they're drafted on a yearly basis. Thank you for the update, though, Nathan. I appreciate that, brother. All right, continuing on, we had a question that comes in from... We got a lot that I'm catching up on. I appreciate y'all sending these in. I'm going to try to catch up as quickly as I can. I won't be as long-winded as I typically am within these questions. We have Nick Walker, who says, in a full PPR, Pickens, Pearsall, or Jaylen Warren. Let me see where I have Warren and Pearsall in comparison to one another, and then I can go ahead and give you my established opinion on the matter. Between those specific players, in a full PPR, I'm still going Pearsall, but he is only 4 spots ahead of Jaylen Warren. I'm not playing Pickens there. I'd rather play either of the other two. Thank you. Moving on to Nay who says in a follow-up, says, forgot some things in my question earlier. See below. All right, Nay says, only 3 bench spots, no IR. Oh, I see. Okay. So considering you have no IR spot within that team, I think it does change a lot of the potential of how we can approach this situation. With no bench spot available, I'm not making any moves. I keep it as is, keep the roster as such, and continue forward with what you have. I'm going to wait until the return of Chris Godwin. But if you are playing in a smaller league, let's say it's a potential 8-team league, then at that point I would be willing to drop Godwin and go pick up, Ollie Gordon, theoretically speaking there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Alrighty, we move on to the next question, who comes in from Cinco2X. Cinco, hope you're doing well, sir. Says PPR, Pickens or Diggs? I'd rather play Pickens there. Thank you. Again, we don't even know what the potential snap count is going to be on Diggs. We have to remember that, again, he's coming off of the ACL. There's a possibility in which they could lessen his workload in terms of routes ran within this week because there is a little bit of a ramp-up period. Even if that wasn't even the case and they told me he was 100%, I'm still going to play Pickens in this situation. Thank you. Denon sends in a question, says, flex spot, Pearsall or Jaylen Warren? Yeah. In a half PPR, I'll take Warren there. In a full PPR, I'm taking Pearsall there. Says, what do you think about Gabriel Davis will affect Keon Coleman later into the season? I mean, I know that Gabriel Davis was signed to the practice squad, which obviously does impact Joshua Palmer, but I think Keon Coleman is not getting off of the field. I think that's just how I see it. Keon Coleman was drafted last season to be the guy of the future. He will continue to be that for this offense. I think it's an indictment on the rest of the opportunities in terms of receiving options within this offense. So as of right now, I don't think it's something to where I'm like, oh, I'm super concerned considering the return of Gabriel Davis to Buffalo. Johnny Kilroy sends in a question. Never mind, it's not a question. Just says, thank you, sir. Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. Golem33 says, who do I start in my flex position? Connor, Hampton, or McMillan? I'm playing James Conner. Again, I mentioned it on my, I specifically had him as a thumbnail because he's one of my favorite starts going into this week. Whenever the Arizona Cardinals last season were favorites in any of their games, James Conner was averaging over 20 fantasy points per game in a half PPR, was averaging 130 total all-purpose yards and a touchdown per game. So whenever you give the opportunities to someone like James Conner to be able to run the ball in the second half, behind a great offensive line that he has there, within an offense that, again, is definitely a run-first scheme. We've talked about it. He has had 17-plus touches in, I think it was 11 of the last 13 games he played last season. There's a lot of opportunity there. Connor's for sure the play out of the group. The second best option will be McMillan. Third will be Hampton. Thank you. Benny G says, pick one wide receiver and one running back in a half PPR. We have Worthy, JSN, CMC, and Bijan. If I have to pick one running back and one wide receiver, let me check my rankings. It says half PPR, correct? Okay. As it stands, I've moved up Worthy a tad bit. Worthy is my number. Wait, hold up. Let me go to my half PPR. Okay, so really quickly, in a half PPR scoring format, I have Bijan ahead of McCaffrey. He's my number 2 compared to my number 3. And when we talk about Xavier Worthy compared to Jackson Smith and Jigba, I have Xavier Worthy currently in a half PPR as my number 16, and JSN as my number 17. So to make my suggestion, it would be Bijan and Worthy. Are these incredibly difficult decisions to make? Absolutely, but those are my suggestions. Benny, thank you. You have a great day. Bob France sends in a question. Bob, I hope you're doing well, sir. Says Jalen, Brees, Harvey, Malik Neighbors, Nico, fantastic wide receivers, my goodness. Kincaid, Tetaroa, McMillan, Cup. With Jordan Mason on my bench, any changes to my starting lineup? No, I think you're pretty solid there. I'm not making any changes. Especially in a full PPR, I'm very comfortable playing Cup there as that second flex spot. Pretty solid wide receiver core, to say the least. I think your biggest question mark as of right now is whether or not Kincaid is going to be able to deliver in a Ravens matchup here. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it, brother. BB sends in a question. Says Pickens for tonight. Oh, Pick'ems for tonight. Okay, really quickly. Let me share a couple of the plays that I'm making for tonight. Absolutely. So again, if you guys are interested in potentially, oop, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me do that. Okay, so again, really quickly, like I mentioned before, besides the Sunday morning rankings, if you sign up using code Andrew via Betr with the link down below, making that first time deposit minimum of $10, and then of course making that first time play, you'll get those rankings every single Sunday morning from my email directly to yours. Those rankings consisting of quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, kicker, defense, and flex for both half and full PPR. If that's something that's of interest of you, again, you can check out the link down below, check out the map to the right side of the screen, and whenever you make a new account using code Andrew, you get a free $10 anyway. And then on top of that, you can go ahead and take advantage of Dak Prescott in terms of a free pick and play as of today with 0.5 passing yards. Obviously, we're going more on that. But in regards to a potential play that we may be interested in. So when I travel on over to the website, I've got a couple plays here. First and foremost, CeeDee Lamb going more than 4.5 receptions, followed by A.J. Brown more than 4.5 receptions, then Jalen Hurts and anytime passing touchdown. Beautiful. Outside of that for today, I really haven't done much discovering in regards to where I'm going with some of these plays between the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. There is a lot of stats, and there's a lot that you could potentially kind of navigate in regards to this. I usually like to play the reception game, guys. Like that's usually, if you guys are familiar with a lot of the potential plays that I suggest over the course of a year, I really like receptions. That's something that I'm always trying to chase because I think there's a lot of value that could be found in that circumstance. So like the idea of, let's see here, these are all their all-time lows. I mean, again, whenever you can get them at a 4.5, we'll take it. Let's see, can you go, like 2.5 is not going to give you much of a multiplier. But again, I like the idea of going after a lower value reception. I understand that it's not going to multiply as much within the potential play, but it's always fun. But again, if you were going to potentially make a play in this circumstance, I like Lamb with 4.5. I like A.J. Brown with 4.5. You can take or leave the potential of anything that revolves around a anytime passing touchdown from Jalen Hurts. My YouTube just crashed, so I'm going to go ahead and travel on over back here so I can open that back up and get back to answering some of your questions. I appreciate it. If we have time at the end of today's stream prior to kickoff, I'll be more than happy to potentially share some plays that I'm making, not only in regards to this week's game, in regards to like kind of today's game, not this week, but the rest of this week's game, specifically tomorrow. I like Ladd McConkey and Travis Kelce a lot with receptions. Those are really nice. Lakia, if you could do me a favor, don't spam in the live chat. That is incredibly appreciated. If you do spam a little bit too much, my mods will ban you forever, and then you'll be gone. And I don't want to see that. I want to see everyone in here, and of course, getting your questions answered via proxy of directly answering them or over time, maybe just if I have enough time, answering them directly. But please do not spam. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, continuing on. I have to catch up on some of these questions, shall we? All right, scrolling back up here. We had a question that came in from BB was asking in specific. Ferguson got at over 3.5 receptions. Yeah, I'll take more than 3.5 receptions on Ferguson. I like that. Again, I like to play receptions, guys. So if I take Ferguson at 3.5 and I take Lamb at 4.5, I'm perfectly happy with that, along with a potential AJ Brown at a 4.5 in this circumstance. Thank you. PW sends in a question, says, start Dobbins or Mason? I would much rather play Dobbins regardless of scoring format. I think he's going to be implicated for more of a rushing opportunity, considering the game script in a lead against that Tennessee Titans defense. Thank you. Daniel Barnes sends in a question, says, D. Thornton going to be this year's BTJ. Crazy. History would suggest that's not going to be the case, considering he was a 4th-round draft selection. There is very rare instances in which a 4th-round selected wide receiver can immediately get into the top 36 conversation. The only 2 wide receivers over the course of the last recent history that have been able to launch themselves from being drafted that low in the NFL draft to being relevant in fantasy are Puka Nacua and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they're all-time players, right? These guys are monsters and are not going away, and they're going to have very long careers. Unless you believe Thornton is going to follow in those footsteps, it's a very much so of a long shot to where he is this year's BTJ. Brent sends in a question. Thank you very much, Brent. Hope you're doing well, sir. Says, in a half PPR, can I justify playing Javonte over Jaylen Warren? I can't do it, guys. I don't like... Listen, Javonte Williams and his value, it doesn't come off to me as like, oh, he's got incredible value taking on an Eagles defense. Guys, the Eagles run stop defense is one of the best in the league. Like, they've got some incredible linebackers there. So, again, if you want to play the game of Javonte Williams, you got to pray and hope he's got to get a lot of receptions and he's got to fall himself in the end zone. Because I know that Jaylen Warren is going to be the primary number 1. He's going to get himself a lot of receptions because, again, Aaron Rodgers and him dumping it off. He's proved that with Aaron Jones. He's proved that with, Breece Hall this most recent season. Even going back to Jamal Williams with the Green Bay Packers, getting a plethora of targets. So Jaylen Warren is going to be implicated. I can't stomach the idea of sitting Warren for Javonte. So I'm playing Jaylen Warren there. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Easy E sends in a question, says, questions in the chat. Easy, if you could do me a favor, just give me a moment because it's kind of hard to answer your question if it's not immediately attached to it. So I'm going to catch up on a couple more questions, then I'll try to go find your question in the live chat. Thank you. Josh Pippin sends in a question, says, PPR, pick 2, DJ Moore, Pickens, Pearsall. As of right now, DJ Moore and Pearsall, all the 2 that I would prefer to play this week as of my rankings. Pearsall, DJ Moore. Thank you. Jay sends in a question. Says, Mason, Downs, or Bateman in the flex? When you say Mason, you mean Jordan Mason. I just want to confirm that. If that is in fact the case, I would rather play Downs out of the 3 available. Downs would be my highest ranked player. Josh Downs over Rashad Bateman and Jordan Mason. Thank you, Jay. Smooth Criminal. Thank you very much, sir. I greatly appreciate that. Hope you're doing well. Says, in a 12-team full PPR league, I got 1 flex position. I got quarterback Josh Allen, running back Chase Brown, Kenneth Walker, Travion Henderson, Bayshaw Tootin. My wide receivers are Pearsall, Egbuka, Hunter Downs, and my tight end is Warren. I was offered London, Harvey, and Nix for Chase Brown and Josh Allen. Interesting. Okay. It says, or London and Nix for Walker and Allen. Okay. So as it currently stands, I would keep what you have. I don't think that either of those trades in my mind are appealing enough for me to give away the value of Josh Allen. Like, again, you got to remember, Josh Allen is an investment you make in a 12-team league on that 2-3 turn. So he can justifiably be a late second, early third. The value that you invested in that and the potential production you are going to get in return of that investment is such a high watermark that the return that you would have to get would have to imply that you're not giving away a Chase Brown or a Walker and not getting back a sustainable enough RB, potential starter every week blind, which Harvey is not proven to be yet. So as of right now, I keep what you have. I'm not making that move. I'm holding, and I'm letting, of course, your players just deliver. I don't think I need to make that kind of a adjustment as of your lineup. I like what I see across the board there. Thank you. Sav Family sends in a question. Says, after the news that Jets are expected to be run heavy this week, is that news? I'm pretty sure we all expected them to be run heavy for the remainder of the season, of course, but Let's see what you have to say here, Seth. Run heavy this week. In a 12-team PPR, do I start Olave or Garrett Wilson? Also, for quarterback, do I start Dak or Drake May? I would prefer to play Drake May because of the rushing upside that he provides in a 4-point per passing touchdown league. Have you told me it was a 6-point per passing touchdown league, I would change my tune and I'd probably potentially even play Dak there. But as it currently stands between Garrett Wilson and Olave, as it stands, I mean, even though they're going to be quote-unquote run heavy, they're still going to throw the ball 20 times. And I would venture to say at least 8 to 10 of those targets are going to go in the direction of Garrett Wilson. Really, there are not many receiving threats within that offense that I think Justin Fields can trust and that he will find open. So Garrett Wilson, I think, is still the play between the two. Mainly also because I trust Fields a little bit more than Rattler at the moment. Xavier sends in a question, says, another season for me giving you my money, full PPR. Listen, another season of me potentially trying to help you win a championship. So let's get it, shall we, Xavier? Says in a full PPR start two between DK Metcalf, Ricky Pearsall, Khalil Shakir. My sleeper for a good week is Pop Douglas. Okay, I liked it. I like that, actually. I like that. I got to look and see who plays nickel for the Raiders as of this moment, but that should be very intriguing. He says, are you worried about DK's rest of season? No, listen, again, DK is one of my favorite players going into the season because I know that the association with Aaron Rodgers is going to be a value. Now, we have to remember, guys, last season, it took a little bit of time between Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers to build that rapport. That was not something that clicked immediately in week 1. It took a while. It took like 4 weeks for them to actually get on the same page. By week 5, they were on the same page and they were both fantasy relevant. We may see a little bit of a slow start here from DK Metcalf, not only because of the Sauce Gardner matchup and the defense of that New York Jets, but additionally because, again, he doesn't have as much of a built rapport initially. Now, in regards to your question, in a full PPR, I'm for sure playing Pearsall there. My only follow-up is, am I playing DK Metcalf or Khalil Shakir? I don't mind the idea of playing Khalil Shakir. I just think that unless Shakir comes out and catches if he catches 6, 7, 8 passes this week, then he'll have more value than DK. But I expect DK Metcalf to get at least 5, 6 receptions within the matchup. I think he'll be littered and peppered with enough targets because the only other guys he's competing with are Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin in terms of the wide receiver position targets. So as of right now, I'm probably leaning towards DK Pearsall. They both have more touchdown upside. Shakir having only scored 4 receiving touchdowns in the last 17 games with the healthy Josh Allen. So a little bit less, enticing in my mind, but I could justify the idea of playing Shakir there under the assumption that, again, he's got to come away with 7+ receptions and like 70+ yards to get that 14-point juice for me to be, really comfortable with that idea of starting him. That's what I gotta assume is gonna happen. Jeremy Melendez sends in a question. Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate it. Says, I have Josh Allen, I have Jamar Chase, I have Devontae Adams, I have Kyron, I have Tracy, I have Devontae Smith, Rome Odunze in my flex. Jake Ferguson is my starting tight end. Should I make any changes? Limited bench depth. As of right now, Josh Allen, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Kyron, Tracy, Devontae Smith, Rome. No, you're good. Look, there's nothing I don't know what the rest of your team looks like, Jeremy. So obviously I don't have an idea as to where we're going elsewhere. But as it currently stands, this is a solid team. Obviously Devontae Smith's going to have another great night against the Dallas Cowboys, as he typically does over the course of, the last couple of seasons here, averaging over 15 points per game against that defense. As everybody is focusing on trying to stop the run, of course, Devontae Smith takes advantage of that. So Ferguson in a negative game script should be great with Dak Prescott. So I'm excited for both of those. I'm not really making any changes there. Thank you. All right, Christian K sent in a question. Had nothing attached to it, Christian. I'm going to try to find your question in the live chat in a moment. Before I do so, let me just go ahead and answer a couple more here, and we'll get to that. Thank you. Daniel Hong sends in a question. Says, Golden in a half PPR or Downs? As of right now, I think there's a very high likelihood that Jayden Reed could miss week 1. Let me check the practice report for the Green Bay Packers. As it stands, Jayden Reed was limited as of today. So as he is trending to potentially play this upcoming week, it does give a little bit more credence to the idea that Golden may see less opportunity share. But considering Reed is limited, Dontavion Wicks is limited, we know there's no Christian Watson. I'm playing Golden between the two of them until I can see what Daniel Jones is capable of. Let's see here. Justin McMillan sends in a question. Says Trevor Lawrence over Dak Prescott this weekend? Yes, as of today, I would rather play Trevor Lawrence against the Carolina Panthers rather than Dak Prescott against the Philadelphia Eagles. Devon Smith sends in a question. Thank you very much, sir. Hope you're doing well. Full PPR, out of these three, which would you sit? Ricky Pearsall, Egbuka, or Trevion Henderson? In a full PPR, I am sitting Trevion Henderson. I would rather play Pearsall and Egbuka this week. Thank you. Justin Michon sends in a question. Says, happy first game of the season. That's right. Happy NFL kickoff day. Says Dak Prescott or Drake May. I would rather play Drake May. Again, I posted rankings for my top 16 quarterbacks, more like top 18, and top 18 tight ends yesterday on the channel. So for those of you interested, you can check that out. As of right now, I do prefer the Drake May play this week. Marvin Lewis sends in a question. Says standard league, start 1 and flex 2. We have Harvey, Tracy, Douglas, and Ollie Gordon. Of the available there, in a standard league where I get 0 points per reception, I'm playing Harvey, Tracy, and I think I'm risky and I'm playing Ollie Gordon in that circumstance. So that's the way I go about it. I started those three. I'm starting all three of my running backs. Because Douglas can't benefit from receptions total, I think that really does impact his upside for success. All right, now really quickly, I do appreciate y'all being patient with me here. I'm trying to catch up on a lot of these questions, a lot of you and one of me. I'm going to go into the live chat and see if Christian K had a question that was potentially left in here. Christian K, if you could do me a favor really quickly right now, if you can hear me, type your question into the live chat again. Easy E, if you could do the same as well, that'd be greatly appreciated, as yours were not attached to the original super. Thank you very much. If you guys can do me that solid, appreciate it. Until then, I see a couple questions. I'm not trying to skip anybody, but I'm going to try to go ahead and just pluck a couple here. I would rather play Hunter over Pickens. Travis Hunter or Scary Terry. I'd rather play Terry McLaurin. Eagles or Cardinals defense. As of right now, guys, my top two defenses I'm going to mention a couple of my top defenses. Broncos number 1, Eagles number 2, Cardinals number 3. So as of right now, just to answer that question in the live chat from 21 CJV, I'd rather play the Eagles defense and hold them so that I can obviously drop the Cardinals and then pick up another waiver wire expendable player going forward. Thank you. Christian K in the chat. Thank you very much, sir. Says both full PPR. All right, perfect. Let's see it. First league, pick one running back and one flex. We have Dobbins, Henderson, we have Jennings, and we have Shakir. Beautiful. Of those available in a full PPR, I'm playing Henderson and I'm playing Shakir. Next question. It says in league 2, pick 2 of the following: Egbuka, Henderson, Myers, Pacheco. Of those available, I would play Egbuka and I would play Henderson. So again, your first league, I'm playing Shakir and Henderson. Second league, Egbuka and Henderson. Full PPR, firing them up, expecting a lot of opportunity to share within the receiving game for the young running back. Thank you very much. Easy E, I'm looking for your question. Hopefully you type it into the live chat sooner rather than later. Appreciate it. Until then, Nicholas Brock just sent in a question, said in a half PPR, Jerome, Ford, or Pickens. That is a very, very interesting question. I hear you, though. I hear you. As it currently stands, I'd rather play Jerome Ford. Thank you. UB says, Kyle Pitts, Keon Coleman, or Nick Chubb in my flex 2. As of those available, I'm probably playing Kyle Pitts alongside of... Do I play Keon Coleman or I play Nick Chubb in a full PPR? Let me see where I have Chubb comparatively. Nick Chubb, Keon Coleman are back-to-back ranked. I have Chubb one spot ahead of him. Thank you. It's easy E right there. It says non-PPR. What running back should I pick up and bench? JCM, Chris Rodriguez Jr., Blue, Corum, or Scattaboo. Out of the available legitimate, I'd rather pick up and stash Cam Scattaboo. That's who I would rather pick up and stash there. Thank you. You could pick up and stash. I mean, JCM is probably somebody that, again, it's so much of a tailspin of we don't know what's going to happen. JCM, Scattaboo, one of those two. Then Jaden Blue afterward. Thank you. But as of right now, Cam Scattaboo caught my eye first. Appreciate it. Okay, getting back to the questions that were sent in. I know Cody was next on the list, so I'm going to try to catch up there. Cody, I see your name. See your question. Thank you very much. Cody says, I have Burrow, CD, Chase Brown. Okay. JT, DJ Moore, Hunter Henry, Lutz in the 49ers defense. Should I flex Pearsall or Flowers? It's a half PPR. Any thoughts on my starters? I mean, your starters are a bunch of studs, right? I mean, whenever you have those kind of guys, obviously your biggest weakness on paper is Hunter Henry. If he scores touchdowns this season, we're not going to call him a weakness anymore. But on paper, that's what it seems like as it stands. As for Flowers versus Pearsall, let me check where I have them ranked accordingly. In a full PPR, I have Flowers ahead of Pearsall. In a half PPR, I have Pearsall ahead of Flowers. I have them literally reversed from spot to spot just off of the point per reception difference. As of right now in your league, I'd lean towards Pearsall, but again, right behind him is Zay Flowers as my number 26 at wide receiver. So they're back to back. Thank you, Cody. Steve says Ricky, Pearsall, Travis Hunter, or DJ Moore in the flex. I would rather play DJ Moore there out of the group. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Smell my fingers says rate my team. High stakes. We have Dak and Fields. Okay, that's right there, and just those two quarterbacks. That's a lot of risk involved, but high potential. You have CMC, Trevion Henderson, BTJ, Pickens, Tat McMillan. Okay, we have Myers, Judy, Bowers. Wow. Okay. Do I start McMillan or over Pickens? Absolutely. I don't think it's even remotely close. Again, McMillan is the number one. He is going to get the vast majority of target opportunity. Again, we are anticipating that Pickens should be the number two, if not the number three, of an offense that throws the ball 40 times. So again, there should be an opportunity at 7 targets today. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Now the question is, can he catch 5 of them? If he can, then we're in business. If the coverage is a little too much and he doesn't get as much target opportunity, then we're in a little bit of trouble. But yes, we're playing Tet McMillan over Pickens there. Thank you. Soul315 says questions in the chat. Soul, I'm going to add you to the list, and I will come back to your question in a moment. I just can't potentially go and find it because it's probably not in there. So I'll ask you in a moment to type it in there, but I'm going to catch up on some of these other questions. Ibrahim sends in a question. Says in a 12-team full PPR. All right, Ibrahim, let's see. Or sorry, yeah, it's a full PPR. Perfect. Says I have Saquon, JT, Connor, Adams, DK Metcalf, Diggs. Okay, pretty solid team. Kelsey and Andrews. Okay, all right. Let's see here. Chase, Hill, Ladd, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. So are you asking me which team do I think is going to win? Just off of initial glance, I'd rather have team number one. Well, it's a full PPR, huh? I'd still rather have team number one because team number two has 2 New York Jets, and I'm not too interested in that. Thank you. Young Money sends in a question. Says Kate Otten, or sorry, that's not Kate Otten. That's Cortland Sutton. Says tough matchup, PPR, Hampton or Igbuka. I would rather play Igbuka over Hampton in a full PPR this week. I do not like the matchup for Hampton against that Kansas City defense, regardless of the fact that he may get himself a good opportunity share. And whenever you're talking about that Kansas City run stop defense, it is as legit as it gets. Is Sutton going to be in a tough matchup? Absolutely. Again, we've talked about it earlier this week when I mentioned Sutton. We're keeping an eye on that matchup against L'Jarius Sneed. Ham Wall at 3,000 says, would you start Pacheco or Hampton in a flex full PPR? And that position, I'm still going to play Hampton there. Thank you. Nicholas Thompson, because again, that Los Angeles Chargers run stop defense is just as good. I mean, that defense is just as good. Nicholas Thompson says, I loved your content. Man, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Says, rate my squad. We have Christian McCaffrey, Puka Nacua, Brock Bowers, Devontae Adams, Pacheco, Pollard, Jacoby Myers. Let's see here. We have Kyler. We have Purdy at quarterback. Very solid. Okay, Waddle, Jacoby. Interesting. Brian Robinson, Kyle Williams. I mean, whenever you have Christian McCaffrey, Puka Nacua, Brock Bowers as your top 3, I already think you're in an advantageous position. On top of the fact that you already have Pacheco, Pollard as that extra running back oomph of depth. You get to play quarterback matchups every single week between Kyler and Purdy. Devontae Adams, again, another one of these awesome players that you're going to have on roster. Jacoby Myers, Waddle. You've got a lot of depth considering the 12-team format. So I think it's a really strong team on paper week 1. I think the biggest question is whether or not someone like, really, it's purely just going to be a matter of who is more reliable, Pacheco or Pollard. That's it. Once we figure that out, which I think is going to be Pollard as of right now in the absence of Spears, once we have a clearer line of sight as to what Pacheco looks like, I think that'll pretty much navigate us towards the remainder of the season. Omega sends in a question. Thank you, Omega. Says, play both A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert, or do I play Kincaid? I think it depends on format, ultimately. If you're talking about a half PPR, I'd probably rather just play Dallas Goedert there. If I'm playing in a full PPR, I'd rather just play Dalton Kincaid and just go for the potential of more receptions. Thank you. Teddy H sends in a question, says, start 3. Nico, JSN, DJ Moore, Pearsall, and Worthy. Cool. Between those available options, I'm playing Nico Collins, I am playing Jackson Smith and Jigba, and I am playing Xavier Worthy. Thank you. Says, also, should I start Trevor Lawrence over Kyler or Drake May? I would start him over both. Thank you. Appreciate it. Jay Park sends in a question. Says, Hurts or Mayfield? I would rather play Jalen Hurts. Absolutely rather play Jalen Hurts. Both are going to be in great positions to succeed. But in order for the Eagles to score fantasy, or in order for the Eagles to score, it's not just going to be an all-time Saquon game where he scores 4 touchdowns. Could be. That's what Saquon's capable of. But there's going to be a lot of implications for Jalen Hurts rushing touchdowns, passing touchdowns, rushing yards, all that kind of jazz. In order for them to win by 8.5, in order for them to put up a high potential total, I think they're currently projected for somewhere around 27, 28 points as an offense, 4 touchdowns. I would assume that Hurts is going to be implicated for at least 3 of them with rushing upside. So yeah, I'd lean towards Jalen there. Thank you. iShine101 says, sup, Drew, in a half PPR. Pick 3 between Tyrone Tracy, Kyron Williams, Jamison Williams, and Travis Hunter. Of those available in a half PPR scoring format, I would feel pretty comfortable going Kyron and Tracy for sure, without a doubt. Then it just becomes a matter of, am I playing Jamison Williams or am I playing Travis Hunter? Between the 2 of them, I currently have Travis Hunter ranked higher. Thank you. Abide Los Angeles sends in a question. Says, trade away Ricky Pearsall for Marvin Harrison. Yes. Thank you very much. Octavio sends in a question. Thank you very much. His question's in the chat. Okay, Octavio. Once I go to check the chat, please go ahead and do me a favor and type that down below. Soul315, if you can do me a favor as well and you can hear me, type your question in the chat as well so I can see that immediately once I swap over there. Thank you very much. Until then, Dragon Slayer says, in a PPR, Pickens, Debo, or Pacheco? Thank you. Let's see what we have in a full PPR. Am I playing Debo or Pacheco? That's really the question. I have Debo Samuel number 1. I have Pickens 2. I have Pacheco 3. So, and just to put it into even more specifics, they are all ranked within 4 spots. So it goes Debo, Pickens, Myers, Harvey, Pacheco. So they're about 5 spots separating the 2 or the 3. So Debo's my number 1 out of the group. Pickens 2 and Pacheco 3. Thank you, PPR. All right, let me go to the live chat. Let me see if these questions were typed in accordingly. We are looking for Soul and we are looking for Octavio. If we can type that in. Soul says, was a crazy question. Hope you're having a good day. Do you think the crazy playing Drake May over Burrow week 1? Absolutely insane. That's something that, again, if I'm going to feel so confident about Drake May week 1, I'm going and making a play on it via Betr. I'm not going to make a statement on my week 1 fantasy lineup. I'm going to play my studs. I'm not getting too cute there. So thank you for the question, but yeah, that is beyond crazy. Octavio, what's up, man? I see you in the chat. Thank you for typing that in. This is in a 10-team league full PPR. I have Josh Allen, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra, Omarion Hampton, Breece Hall, Tedero McMillan, Njoku. Beautiful. Bench consists of Pollard, Montgomery, Golden, Charbonnet, JCM, Coleman. Who do I start? I mean, Josh Allen plays, CeeDee Lamb plays, Amon-Ra plays, Njoku plays, McMillan stays in the flex. As for your starting running backs, I would suggest that you play Omarion Hampton and that you would play Pollard as well alongside of him. That's how I would suggest it. Fantastic looking team with a lot of depth, brother. A lot of depth. So you should feel pretty lucky as to how you went about putting that squad together, because it's going to pay dividends in the future. Thank you. All right, continuing on, we had a question that came in from Venomous Raptor 7. Venomous, hope you're doing well, sir. It says PPR trade, A.J. Brown plus Chuba Hubbard for Chase Brown and DJ Moore. As it currently stands, I'd feel pretty comfortable trading for the Chase Brown side. Yeah, I'll take that. That's a good deal. I'll take that deal. That's a damn good deal. Yeah, I'll take the Chase Brown side. Thank you. Brian Colorado sends in a question. Says, team is in the chat week 1. We have Breece Hall or Tyrone Tracy. Is trading Tyreek Hill or Evans with Hunter and Stroud too much for BTJ? Best RB to trade for right now? And what do I offer? Okay, brother. Brian, you gave me so much information with so much non-information. So, like, again, whenever you're asking a trade question, it's got to be a lot simpler. You can't be like, do I trade this, or this? Make it very simple so that I can just, like, quickly get to it. Considering your running back depth consists of Breece and Tyrone, which I'm beginning to understand, you're asking if it's worth trading Hill or Evans with Travis Hunter and Stroud. I don't know why Stroud is important here, for BTJ. To which I would say you're killing your wide receiver depth, because, again, I don't know what your roster consists of. There needs to be a little bit more to it. You said your team's in the chat. The only issue is you probably sent this in a long time ago, Brian, and I don't see your roster there, Brian. Says, give me starter set on the roster. Yeah, I don't see your there it is. Okay. I got it, Brian. Thank you. Perfect. Okay. So now I have all the acquired information. We're good to go. Perfect, Brian. Thank you. I got a few questions for my team. Superflex. That's why you mentioned Stroud. Okay, understand now. My quarterbacks are Kyler, Lawrence, Stroud. Okay. We have Achane, Brees, Tyron Tracy. Okay. So with the context that you've provided me, that is not a worth trade. Unless you are getting back BTJ and a quarterback, I am not trading Evans, Hill, and a quarterback for just BTJ. You're giving up far too much value for what you're getting in return. So I would much rather keep what you have. I'd rather have the flexibility of Stroud in case he catches fire here, to where I can utilize him to gain more within an upcoming trade rather than just one singular player in return. That's the way that I see it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. Where are we at in terms of time? We're still an hour and 10 minutes away from kickoff, which is beautiful. So that means I have a lot of time to potentially continue answering questions. I appreciate y'all being patient with me. We answered UB's question before. So again, I'm going to go with Pitts and Keon Coleman there. And then Nicholas Brock, we took care of yours. We're going with Jerome Ford there. Johnny Coffey says defending the crown. That's right, baby. Hope you're doing well, Johnny. Dark City says, Dak City. Imagine. That's where my mind is Dak Prescott. So anyway, continuing. Let's see here. He says Hampton or Swift in a half PPR. In a half PPR, I would rather play DeAndre Swift this week. Thank you. Especially considering where those running backs of that offense are trending. It seems like it's going to be an all Swift kind of game. iShine 101 sends in a question. iShine, hope you're doing well, brother. Says in a 10-team PPR, pick one for my second flex spot between Njoku, Josh Downs, Aaron Jones, Jameson Williams. Out of the group, I am playing David Njoku blind. It's not even remotely close. Njoku and Kittle both start for your team henceforth. They are going to be monsters to begin the season here, especially Njoku with the Joe Flacco boost that he gets. Demont Smith sends in a question. Thank you very much. Another follow-up. Appreciate it, sir. So it's PPR, Dak Prescott or McCarthy, and Stroud or Trevor Lawrence. I would rather play Trevor Lawrence over Stroud, first and foremost. Trevor Lawrence over Stroud. As for the Dak Prescott-McCarthy potential play, as it currently stands in regards to my quarterback rankings, I have McCarthy relatively ahead of Dak Prescott. So, again, that's what I'm going to suggest. If you like the idea of playing Dak Prescott, in the idea of a negative game script, in the potential of him throwing for majority of the second half, again, there are going to be some implicated potential turnovers there. There's going to be potential for extra yardage, touchdowns, etc., depending on how well that offense kind of is constructed and how well they play. But if their defense can't get off the field in the second half and, Saquon's running all over them, consistently moving the chains, the clock is going to melt. I'm leaning towards McCarthy in that situation. Thank you. Thomas Dabney says, can you talk about any bets that you have for today's game? Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I'm more than happy to once again share it on screen really quickly, Thomas. Let me go ahead and let's travel on over there really quickly just to go ahead and take a look. So in regards to some of the plays that we were potentially conversing, I need to log in really quickly. I somehow got logged out, so I need to get my phone because I need my two-factor auth to go through. So one moment, please. Let me just... Okay, I did my two-factor auth, and now I'm in. That way, we're good to go. All right, so as we were saying earlier, in terms of the potential entries that I like for today, again, the multiplier is not great. It's a 1.7x, but the likelihood of this happening is pretty solid, right? I mean, who knows? As of right now, this is what I like. So Lamb receptions, AJ Brown receptions, Jalen Hurts receptions. These are things that I like. There are other plays that, again, we'll go over in the coming days here that I've made in regards to the most recent videos that we kind of shared. But somebody earlier was mentioning, like, hey, Andrew, what's your thoughts on, like, Jake Ferguson receptions? Because, I was mentioning, like, receptions is something that I like to go after in regards to it. 3.5. Again, I could see him coming away with 3 receptions if this game goes awry. I could see it happening. So, as of right now, I'm more comfortable going after the main studs of the offense rather than trying to hunt for that number 2 receiving option as of just this moment. Alex Songrass sends in a question. Alex, thank you very much, sir. I greatly appreciate it. Says my man, in a 6-point per passing super flex, we have Dak Prescott or Justin Fields. In a 6-point per passing touchdown league, I am playing Dak Prescott there. Next question. Says quarterback is number 1 is Josh Allen. Also in a standard start, McMillan or Sutton. I'd rather play McMillan there. Thank you. Full PPR, Debo or Ridley. I'd rather play Ridley there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Jack Peltier sends in a question. Says Javonte Williams or Harvey in a non-PPR. I'd rather play RJ Harvey there. Thank you very much. Lucky Penny 89 sends in a question. Thank you, Lucky. I appreciate it. Says second wide receiver, Devontae Smith tonight or Egbuka. Lucky, can you do me a favor? Tell me what your scoring format is, brother. That'd be greatly appreciated. Let me see where I have them in a full PPR, and I will convey that, and I will let you know right now. As it stands, I have Devontae Smith as my number 23 and Egbuka as my number 24 in a full PPR. They are both within the tier 7 of my wide receiver groupings. Again, they're both fantastic plays. I currently do have Devontae Smith one spot ahead of Egbuka, though, in a full PPR, under the assumption that is your format. If that is not your format and you play in a half or a standard, it could adjust, but I think Devontae Smith probably has the inside edge. Yeah, full PPR. So yeah, well, I do prefer to play Devontae Smith there. Thank you. David Dooley sends in a question. Says, do I drop Najee Harris for Dylan Sampson? I would. Yeah. Listen, Najee Harris, in order for him to be fantasy relevant, Omarion Hampton has to disappear. In order for Sampson to be relevant, Judkins just has to keep doing what he's doing. So Sampson is going to be in the mix. Najee Harris is purely just a handcuff. He is going to be the Gus Edwards of last year, where he gets the potential of 6 to 7, maybe 8 rushing attempts if he is lucky, but ultimately is just a handcuff in the mix to potentially kind of run an engine and give Omarion Hampton breaks at times. So Sampson is the preferred of the two going forward. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. iShine101 sent in a follow-up. Says, I'm in a 10-team Superflex league. I need one player for my second flex, Drew. Is it Waddle? Is it Pollard, Ford, Pittman, or Stevenson? Out of the available options that you mentioned, regardless of scoring format, I am playing Tony Pollard. Thank you. Alrighty. I've caught up, I believe. Good to go. Perfect. So now we've caught up with the live chat. Hope you guys are doing well. Live chat. Happy NFL kickoff day. This is going to be a wonderful Thursday night. Besides today's live stream in terms of prior to the game, I will be back after the game like we do every Thursday night after the Thursday night football game here on the channel. So if you guys are new, be sure to go ahead and swing on by after the game. I'll continue to be answering questions if I'm not able to answer your question as of this current moment, because again, there's a lot of you and one of me. Again, a reminder, if you guys want my all-encompassing rankings and want to get those on Sunday morning, again, check out Betr. We've mentioned it already. You can get a free $10 when you sign up and you're good to go. Dilo, I see you. What's up? So again, if you follow these steps of using code Andrew, making that first time deposit minimum of $10 and making that first time real play within, that first time play being associated with the deposited money that you put in, because again, the reason why I have to preface this is because you do get a free $10 as soon as you sign up using code Andrew. So as long as you're using the real $10 or one of the real $10 that you deposited, you'll be good to go to get those rankings this upcoming Sunday. All that information is down below. But again, if you want my all-encompassing rankings, like as of this current moment, right now, Patreon's the way to do it. Again, that has been posted earlier today. So for those of you who are Patreon supporters of the 2025 Fantasy Football Champion tier, be sure to go and check those out. Those were posted earlier today to help you guys out. Thank you. Carlos Laurie, what's up? How you doing? Okay, let's see here. What do we have here in the live chat in terms of questions? I see a lot of familiar names. Anonymous, how you doing? Hope you're doing well there. Okay, Zach, what's up? It says start Golden over Ridley or Swift. I'd start him over Ridley. Yeah, I'd feel comfortable doing that. Let's see here. Full PPR. Should I flex Pickens, Rome, or Pacheco? I mean, at this point, I think I'm going to go with Rome and Dunze there in a full PPR. Listen, guys, as you can tell, so this is what's going to happen. I can almost guarantee it. This happens almost all the time. Whenever there's a player that I'm like, I would say relatively low on, they somehow score. Expect for George Pickens to score today. That's all I'm saying. Because for some reason, how this works, how this reality works, let me just give you a quick little, for those of you who were here at this moment, last season, 2024, the kickoff of the Thursday night NFL game, okay? We talked about, are we playing Xavier Worthy? I said, guys, he has incredible touchdown upside. One deep ball makes his entire week. And the exact same thing stands for George Pickens tonight. It takes one pass. Knowing my luck, knowing how I've said that I don't really, feel comfortable playing him over the alternatives, watch this guy score tonight. I'm telling you. What's up, BZ? Hope you're doing well. Javonte Williams with Blue out or Jacoby Myers? In a full PPR, I still feel comfortable with the... you know what? That actually kind of mixes some things up here. Blue is out, huh? Let's see here. Let me check the report really just quickly. I just want to confirm that before I make any bold statements on that regard. So if we go to the injury report, we go to the Dallas Cowboys. Is he's like a non-injury out? Is that what it is? Is he like a healthy scratch? Let's see here. Jaden Blue. Because he's not on the injury report, so he's not injured. So he just must be a healthy scratch here. Yeah, healthy scratch. So that means they are so confident of him and not playing this season that they're like, yeah, we're going to go with Javonte. Very interesting decision making there. That all of our Jaden Blue stock just went up in flames. Like you guys have seen The Dark Knight. You know when the Joker lights the Mount of bills on fire? That is what happened to all of my Jaden Blue stock. In one fell swoop, it's not about the money. It's about sending a message. And the Dallas Cowboys just sent a message to Andrew and absolutely annihilated his heart for Jaden Blue. This being said, considering that information, it's going to be a Javonte Williams / Miles Sanders backfield. I'm still playing Jacoby Myers there. Thank you for the question, John, and the information. Appreciate it. Tuna sends in a question. Thank you, Tuna. I appreciate it. Says Dole trade. Dole? What the heck is Dole? Ladd McConkey / Javonte Williams for Garrett Wilson and Devontae Smith. I think I need to see the rest of your roster. Because if you really need running back depth that badly in the form of DeAndre Swift, then sure, we can make that move. But if you don't need that depth and you already have 3 other viable plays, then at that point, we're probably going to just stick with what we have in that circumstance. Because I think, Ladd McConkey having that top 12 upside is really hard to pass up on going forward here. Dion says Miles Sanders will be RB1. Remember me? Dion, I will try to remember you the best of my ability. I will not forget it. I'm saying it out loud. Dion said that Miles Sanders is going to be the RB1 of the Dallas Cowboys this season. To which I will say, Miles Sanders had an incredible Week 18 last year. If you guys saw that Carolina Panthers game against the Atlanta Falcons, I know it was an incredibly high-scoring game, but Miles Sanders went for 25 fantasy points while everybody wasn't playing fantasy football anymore in Week 18. Just putting it out there. He's not washed yet, but he's definitely had himself a fair share of injuries since he left the Eagles, because, again, he's getting up there in age. Oh, right. Amari Cooper retiring is whack. I mean, what are you to do? Listen, this is the thing. Once you sign with a team and then they put you through the conditioning test, and you're like, damn, this is difficult. You're like, you know what? I'd rather retire. You retire as a part of the team. You get your health benefits, and you're good to go. Anyway, Angel Montero sends in a question. Thank you, Angel. I appreciate it, brother. Angel says the following. Says questions in the chat. Thanks again. All right, Angel, let's see what you have here, brother. Says, hey, Andrew. Thoughts on my team in a 12-team full PPR? We have Bo Nix, we have Drake May, we have Trevor Lawrence. You got too many quarterbacks. In a league in which it's not a super flex or 2 QB league, you got way too many, entirely too many quarterbacks on roster. But I digress. You have Achane, Irving, Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet. Beautiful backfield. You have Chase, Evans, Sutton, Ridley, and Shaheed. Fantastic. Love to see it. And my tight ends is Tyler Warren. Any changes? Yeah. The only thing that I'm changing is I am dropping one of, if not both, Drake May and Trevor Lawrence, and I'm going and picking up potential wide receivers and running backs who I think are lottery tickets for the remainder of the season. Guys who that in the coming weeks could be of value to where I am beating them. I'm picking them up and beating everyone to them prior to the waiver wire scrum that may take place after week 1. So that's the only suggestion that I'm theoretically making in this situation. Bale, what's up? Hope you're doing well, Bale. Says, hi, drop Caleb Johnson for Dylan Sampson. Interesting question. I'm not feeling that confident on that move. I would say that both of them are running backs that we're keeping an eye on. I would rather still have Caleb Johnson on roster based on the offense that he's associated with. And of course, specifically the fact that when you know that you're associated with a Arthur Smith, OC, play caller, we travel back to 2022. And we remember when Cordero Patterson was coming off an incredible season, but, Tyler Algier was there and he worked into the mix and eventually took over a lot of that share of the backfield and was fantasy relevant in a top 24, top 15 capacity for late in that 2022 campaign. So I'm still going to lean towards Caleb Johnson having that kind of potential within this offense. I feel like an earthquake just hit my house. I don't know what just felt. I don't know what that was. Anyway, I'm just thinking aloud here. Mike Honcho sends in a question. Says, need a flex in a full PPR. We have Hunter, Jameson, and Pollard. In a full PPR, let me see where I have Pollard. Listen, I'm really high on Pollard this week. It's going to be really difficult for me to suggest anything else from him. As of right now, I have Pollard about 6 spots ahead of Travis Hunter. So it would be Pollard 1, it would be Hunter 2, and it would be Jameson Williams 3 in a full PPR. Thank you. Diggs, Judy Ridley. I'd rather play Judy Ridley out of the group they're having. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Dak or Fields. Depends on scoring format. If it's a 4-point, I'd probably lean towards Fields. If it's a 6-point, I'm going with Dak. Do you like Ricky Pearsall at the flex? It depends on what you're comparing it to, Funko. My answer is, do I like Ricky Pearsall? Yes. Do I like him at the flex? Sure, but am I playing him over Derrick Henry? No, it just depends on what you're playing him over in comparison in this situation. Thank you. Dylan sends in a question. Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well, Dylan. Says in a full PPR, which one? Javonte Williams or Josh Downs? Very good question. Very good question. Let me see where I have Javonte in comparison, and I will let you know right now. As it currently stands, with the information that Jaden Blue is not playing, and I did expect him to play today. So I think that does make a pretty big difference. At that point, I think that Josh Downs, as of right now, I had only Josh Downs 5 spots ahead of Javonte Williams. So with the potential of Jaden Blue missing this week, a lot of that receiving workload going towards Javonte Williams in this circumstance, I think I'm enticed by the idea of playing Javonte to the point to where at this point, I probably suggest that you do play him. Because I think a lot of what Josh Downs is going to be able to provide may get sapped away by Tyler Warren this week. Or just this season in general. Stu Gooden says, Stu Gooden APR says, torn between Kelsey and Njoku in a full PPR. As it stands, I have Njoku. Yeah, I have Njoku higher. Again, I would try to play them both, to be honest. I don't know who you're playing in your flex, but I think I'm playing probably both of them within the given week based on the matchups and the opportunity share that they're both equally going to be able to see. Strange over Goddard. If we're talking about a full PPR, absolutely. If we're talking about a half PPR, let me see where I have my tighter rankings. Half PPR, I have them ranked 17 and 18. So Goddard 17, Strange 18. In a full PPR, I have Strange ahead of him. Yes, Brenton Strange, sneaky potential good play going forward this season. All righty, we had Jack Peltier, who sends in a follow-up. Says, I have James Conner, stash Trey Benson or Ollie Gordon. That's a really good question. I think it just depends on what kind of a running back depth you have. If you look at your backfield and you're like, listen, I'm just trying to protect my investments, I don't need anybody for the flex, then you pick up Trey Benson there. Because let's say, for example, Jack, if you were playing a full PPR and like your weekly flex is going to be Tedero McMillan, for example, we know you're not going to replace him there. He's going to be a fantastic play every week. But if your current flex is someone like, let me throw out a name here. Let me look at the list. Let's say your current flex going into this week is Jerome Ford, or maybe Juwan Jennings, or the potential of Jacoby Myers, somebody that's less of a solidified play in my mind. In that circumstance, I'd be like, you know what? I kind of want to see if Ollie Gordon has much tread within week 1 to make that determination now. Because if Trey Benson's already available in your league, chances are nobody's picking him up. So likelihood is I'd rather just try to get ahead of the potential waiver wire frenzy this week, have Ollie Gordon on roster, see what kind of a work share of opportunity he, is represented with come week 1's matchup against Indianapolis, then proceed forward accordingly. So I'd lean in that direction. Jonathan Cooper, what's up, brother? Says, in a non-PPR format, would you play JSN Ladder or Igbuka? JSN and Ladder are my 2 plays in that trio grouping. Thank you. Frosty, what's up, brother? Hope you're doing well, Frosty. Thank you. Frosty says, May, Dak, or Trevor Lawrence in a 6-point per passing touchdown league. I'm playing Trevor Lawrence there very happily. Joseph Mai, hope you're doing well. Very familiar name. Says, full PPR. Do I play Ferguson or Loveland? I'd like to play Ferguson there in a full PPR. Very confidently, in fact. I think he's going to be a solid play. Again, we got to remember, guys, it wasn't long ago when Jake Ferguson in 2023 was highly utilized within this offense, was the number 2 receiving target, was top 5 in red zone targets, within this offense as a number 2 receiving option. Dak Prescott was on an MVP tear. They were playing incredibly good football on the offensive side of the ball. We're hoping they can return to that kind of potential for upside, and that Ferguson, with the reunion of Dak Prescott, is going to find value, while the wide receivers on the outside in the form of Pickens and Lamb can pull some distraction. So yeah, I really do like the potential of Ferguson there in a full PPR format. Do I think the matchup this week is tough? Yes, but I still do believe he's capable of being in that top 12 conversation by the week's end just off of receptions alone. Fantasy Sports sends in a question, nothing attached to it, but I can hopefully find your question. I do see your question, Fantasy. Thank you very much. Says, should I drop Eckler for Tracy or Javonte Williams? I would like to drop Eckler for Tracy. Between the three, I think they're all, of course, currently the number ones of their backfields, but Tracy is the preferred of the bunch. I think him and Eckler, as of right now, going into this week in a full PPR format, which I believe is what you're playing in, yes. As of this week, Tracy's my number 19 back in a full PPR. Eckler's my number 28 in a full PPR. And the last option that you mentioned, I believe, was Javonte. He moves up probably to my number 31, if not 30 in a full PPR, still below the other alternatives. But considering the healthy scratch of, I'm not even still interested there. Javonte Williams could be a value. I'd still rather have Tracy. Thank you. Glenwood King, thank you very much. Says Ferguson or Hunter Henry? I'd rather play Ferguson. If you're playing in a standard league where you get 0 points per reception, that's the only circumstance where I'd feel relatively comfortable playing Hunter Henry, because we're just chasing touchdown upside and yardage rather than the potential of receptions that are going to kind of level out the floor of production. All right, good to go. Eugene, a lot of the questions you're asking right now can be answered via the videos that I posted on the channel. So if you want to go check that out, that'd be great. Again, I had Loveland ahead of Goddard earlier this week. I forget where I had Pickens in comparison to Debo, but I'm sure you could check that out. As it currently stands, I have Debo ahead of him. All right, Raghav, what's up? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well, Raghav. Very familiar name. I don't see your question. Hopefully you can type it in the chat. While we wait, Doppio sends in a question. Says, hi, Andrew. In a full PPR, we have Chris Olave. We have Omarion Hampton for BTJ. Yeah, I'll take the Brian Thomas Jr. side of that deal. Yep, give me BTJ there. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Devontae Smith or Henderson? I'd rather play Devontae Smith or Adam. I think Devontae Smith, what he has demonstrated from last season, again, 11 of his 13, or was it 10 of his 13 games last season when healthy? 11 or more fantasy points in a half PPR. The fact that in a half PPR, over the course of the last 6 matchups against the Dallas Cowboys, he's averaging over 15 fantasy points per game. He's put up some incredible numbers as of late against this Dallas Cowboys defense. So we're just hoping that, again, in the efforts of potentially blowing out the Cowboys, hopefully Devontae Smith won't be ignored, in terms of opportunity share, because there's always an opportunity in which Saquon completely goes off. They score 28 unanswered points with Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Goddard, and Saquon scoring touchdowns individually. And then in the second half, we have Devontae Smith sitting on his hands, run blocking, right? Like, that's always the threat. But I think in the pursuit of a victory, he's going to be heavily involved. No Love Matt sends in a question. Says, should I flex Egbuka or Devontae Smith? Somebody asked me this earlier. You said you also have Baker. So the potential for a stack is enticing. As of right now, half or full PPR, I have them ranked back to back. So you could go one way or the other, genuinely. I have Devontae Smith one spot ahead of Egbuka in both half and full PPR. They do not move in that circumstance. So as it stands, I'd keep it as is. I'd go with Devontae Smith in tonight's game. If you wanted to play Egbuka because you have Baker, I have no issue with it. I wouldn't even blink. I wouldn't even tell you that's the wrong decision. I'd say, hey, let's hope for the best. Let's hope for a shootout against the Atlanta Falcons there. All righty. What time do we have here? 4:32. Okay, we're in a good spot. Very good spot. Very good spot. Okay, again, quick. Oh, somebody said McMillan or Sutton. Hannah, I'm going to suggest you play McMillan there. I think Sutton's got a little bit of a lesser potential matchup. And additionally, I think the game script could get out of hand. So I'd probably rather just play McMillan there. Again, especially considering they're taking on Jacksonville. Very advantageous. Again, I'm going to throw that word out there a lot. Ramondre or Harvey? I'd rather play Harvey there, Jack, for sure. Ramondre, again, even in a non-PPR, I think the Harvey implication is that they're going to be leading by so many points in the second half that he should be getting a good amount of rushing opportunities. Somebody asked Javonte Williams or what is this? Is that Webley? Webley's family says Javonte Williams or Josh Palmer in the final flex spots. It's for sure Javonte Williams there. Not too interested and very keen on playing Josh Palmer in week 1 against the Baltimore Ravens defense. Somebody sent in a follow-up, said Smith or Egbuka. Yeah, like I mentioned moments ago, I don't think there's a wrong answer. You can flip a coin on it. As of right now, I have Smith as my number 23 and Egbuka as my number 24 wide receiver in a full PPR. Thank you. Travis Hunter or Pearsall? It depends on format, but I think I'm probably leaning towards Pearsall there. Okay, we've caught up relatively quickly. Just want to scroll up, make sure I don't... Oh, Raghav, that's who we were looking for, right? Okay, let's see if I can find Raghav's question. Control F. Raghav says, in a 6-point per passing touchdown league, do I play Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert? I would suggest you play Trevor Lawrence there, taking on the Carolina Panthers. Again, you got to remember that Carolina Panthers secondary, which a lot of their personnel still is with intact. It's not a sound group. I know, J.C. Horn's a great cornerback, but the rest of it is, pretty sketchy there. So yeah, Trevor Lawrence for sure. He also has more rushing upside. I like that. Raghav, your other question was, in a PPR, do I start Henderson, Pollard, or Diggs? I would start Pollard there. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Hopefully you heard that response. I know it was a little bit of a delayed response in comparison to where or when you sent in that question, but I do appreciate you guys. Okay, so where are we at here? We are sitting at a 4:35 p.m. PST current time. There's about 369 of you in this live chat. I do appreciate y'all coming through. Should I drop Keenan Allen for Thornton or Ollie? No, I'd only ever pick up Ollie in that circumstance. Again, if you are looking for just a lottery ticket. If you need depth at wide receiver, then you pick up and you keep Keenan Allen, because there's a lot of potential in which he could be early in the season relevant until, again, he's older age, potentially knocks him out with injury. But as it currently stands, Ollie Gordon is the lottery ticket. If you need lottery ticket support, then you pick it up. Otherwise, you keep it as is. Jay McLaughlin. Jay, hope you're doing well, sir. Says, hey, Andrew. Flex one in a non-PPR, Pickens, Dobbins, Eckler, or Mason. That makes it very intriguing. I think it's either Eckler or Dobbins. That's an interesting question. I got to think about that. Considering I don't play in any standard leagues myself and I don't have projections for them, it makes it a little bit more of a difficult decision in my mind, to which I probably still play Eckler there, but it is intriguing as to what the potential of Pickens is in comparison in a non-PPR format. Thank you, Football. I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Very kind words. What about tonight's game? Tonight's rain does affect Smith's ranking? No. Listen, guys. This is something that I'm going to mention all season long, and you will hear me say about 1,000,000 times. And I would like to just say it now and say it as loudly as possible. I am not someone who is I am not intimidated by potential weather. Okay. Even if it was to rain, these are professional athletes, and I have seen thousands, I'm telling you, thousands of instances, I had to emphasize there, in which the rain has been persistent in games and wide receivers still ball out regardless. So I'm not worried about it. Trust. Now, if you tell me, hey, Andrew, actually the weather is going to be Buffalo Bills versus New England Patriots, minus 10-degree weather, 40-mile-per-hour winds, at that point, I'm like, okay, yeah, we can understand it. But if it's just rain at like a 33%, I think we're fine. Luis sends in a question. Thank you very much, sir. Says, pick 2.5 PPR. Harvey, Jawan Jennings, Diggs, and Ridley. Of the available, I'm going Ridley and Harvey. Thank you. Just pretty much both in the same game. Should be exciting there. Rowit sends in a question. Says, Pickens, Jennings, or Golden? I'd rather play Golden out of the group. Yeah, for sure. Toby says, should I sit Mike Evans, Neighbors, McMillan, or Devontae Adams? I'm sitting Devontae Adams out of the group. The other three are, in my mind, better plays. Ow. My thumb is just cooked. Ebbs and Flows, what's up, brother? How you doing? Says, thanks for 6 years, brother. Thank you very much. I'd play Pearsall there, brother. Egbuka or Hampton? That's a really good question. That's genuinely a really good question. I'm not sure about that. Let's see what we have Egbuka in comparison. As it currently stands, I do have Egbuka ahead of him. So, go figure. Murray or Lawrence, Texans or Bengals? Are we talking about Texans or Bengals defense? I think that... Oh, really quickly, just a reminder. For those of you who are joining us today, again, thank you. Appreciate it. Like I do every single Sunday morning, I live stream here on the channel. And within those rankings, or within that live stream, I produce and I show all my rankings in a half PPR, whether it's quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, kicker, and defense. Now, I don't show them all, but I show a pretty good vast majority of them. Again, if you guys want flex rankings, if you want full PPR rankings, all of that can be found either the Betr sign up or via the Patreon. But again, defense, I will probably go into more detail regarding once we get to Sunday. Again, there's still a couple players and a couple situations that we are waiting upon to see what, kind of comes of it. And once that has been established, we'll have a better understanding. But as it currently stands, if you have the Eagles defense, you're playing them. Do not play Dallas today if you have them. Which nobody should have Dallas's defense after that Micah Parsons trade, of course. All right, continuing on. So yeah, besides today's live stream as of this current moment, after the game I'll be live streaming. Tomorrow I'll live stream before the game. After the game I'll also live stream, and then additionally a Saturday afternoon live stream, and then a Sunday live stream. Any plays for today? Yes, via Betr. The plays that I enjoy, we're going more on AJ Brown 4.5 receptions, more on 4.5 receptions for CeeDee Lamb, and more than 0.5 passing touchdowns for Jalen Hurts. That's the one that that's probably the only one I have for tonight's game as of right now. All right, John Butterball sends in a question. John, thank you very much. Says Okonkwo or Otten? Otten fully practiced today, so I think I'll be good with playing him instead. Let me just confirm really quickly. If I go to the injury report for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Cade Otten, full practice today. I am playing him over Chigoziem Okonkwo this week. Thank you. Chris Rosado says in a half PPR, pick one: Coleman, Golden, or Jameson Williams. I'm playing Golden. Golden number 1, Jameson 2, Coleman 3. So I'm playing the rookie. Yes. I'm going to take the implied risk on. Miracle, if you heard what I was saying earlier in regards to potential plays for tonight, again, just to go ahead and reiterate, just so we're all on the same page here really quickly. So I go over here to Betr. I go to the game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. 4.5 there. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. 4.5 there. We can take more on both of these. And then theoretically speaking, we go to passing touchdown. You can get both of them at 0.5. So whatever way you want to go, I mean, like, that's great. But I went on already ahead and I put one together for this play in specific. So I already have it here. 20 to win 34. So that's the play that I'm suggesting. That is the one that I've been talking about for majority of today. Thank you. Let's see here. We catch up a little bit with National Champ Rush. National Champ, thank you very much, sir. Hope you're doing well. Long time no see. Happy NFL, kickoff day. Let's get into it. Pick 1.5 PPR. Jacoby Myers, Jerry Jeudy, or Diggs. Out of the group there, I'm playing Jeudy. I think the Flacco uptick for production is very substantial, and I'm convinced that it's going to be enough to be able to make him fantasy relevant ahead of a Myers or Diggs within the upcoming matchup this week. Thank you. Charlene, what's up? Hope you're doing well. John War sends in a question. John, I hope you're doing well, sir. Thank you very much. Says PPR pick 2, Jeudy, Egbuka, Harvey, Javonte, Kupp. Thanks, Andrew. Of the available in a full PPR format, it's probably going to be Egbuka alongside of, let me check where I have Jeudy in comparison to the alternatives you mentioned there. As it currently stands, based on the names that you mentioned, I am playing Jeudy and I am playing Egbuka. Very confidently, in fact. Thank you, John War. Appreciate it. Supreme Bean, what's up? Says, fellas, help me out. Jake Ferguson or Loveland? I think it's, unless you're, man, look, here's the thing about Loveland, right? We don't know exactly, play for play what's going to occur. We can, we can make some inferences based on the usage of tight ends from Jake, from Ben Johnson and how this offense is going to function with Caleb Williams and all that kind of jazz. But we can't, objectively say, oh yeah, it's going to go one way or the other. What I would probably say is Jake Ferguson is a safer play in a negative matchup, probably leaning in his direction. If you didn't have as good of an alternative option, then you would be forced to play Loveland, which still I think is a top 15 play. John Butterball sends in a follow-up, says Jacoby or Pollard in the flex. I'd rather play Pollard there. Thank you. King Alex sends in a question, says, Andrew, in a full PPR, please pick 2 between Devontae Smith, Pickens, and Swift. As of right now, I'm playing Devontae Smith over Pickens, and Swift also gets the second start there, and I'll tell you exactly why. I mentioned this in the beginning of the live stream, and it still continues to hold true. Roshan Johnson has not practiced this week. He's a DNP, which is did not practice for each of the last 2 days. High likelihood that he does not play this week. Kyle Monangai, the third string running back of the Bears, limited with a hamstring injury. So if this is going to be a situation in which we may see a lot of DeAndre Swift, I think it continues to elevate his value because, again, he's going to get not only the early down, the receiving workload, but on top of it, the goal line utilization as a clear 3-down back within the upcoming matchup. So I think the injuries that persist around him will continue to elevate his value, making Smith and Swift the best of the potential 3 options there, King Alec. Thank you. Danny Orton says, in a half PPR flex, pick 1, Ford, Jacoby, or Golden. I'd rather play, well, you know, it's either Ford or Golden. Let me see how I have them kind of set up here. Ford, I think, I don't know what we're going to see between him and Sampson in terms of distribution of opportunity, but regardless of that, as it stands, I have Matthew Golden ahead of all 3 of them. Danny Orton, thank you, man. I'm going to play Matthew Golden there. The primary reason why, Dontavion Wicks, limited in practice. Jaden Reed, limited in practice. We got injuries there. We got Christian Watson out. And we have an offense that has to score through the air. This defense for the, the Lions, where they're incredibly weak at is cornerback. I don't care what anybody says. They got good safeties, but corners where they struggle. We got to attack those to find success. There's a reason why in the 2 matchups last year when Green Bay took on this defense, Jaden Reed went for 100 and Christian Watson went for 100. Okay, let's see here. We had Twisted Folk send in a question. Twisted, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Let's see here. I need to just move that there. All right, Twisted Folk says, in a half PPR, pick 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. Egbuka, Marv, Hampton, and Tracy. That's a really good question. Let me see where I have Tracy in comparison to the alternatives in a half PPR, and I'll tell you right now where we're going with those. Where's Marv? Marv is there. Yeah. As it currently stands, I have Egbuka and Marv as the 2 highest ranked of the group. Yeah. In a half PPR, I would go with Egbuka and Marvin Harrison. Thank you. Tracy would be 3rd. Hampton would be 4th. Appreciate it. Charlene says, I want Aubrey to score a lot of points tonight. Yeah, I'm hoping that he probably racks in 3 50-yard field goals for us. Like, legitimately, I want 15 points. I mean, again, if I'm investing in Aubrey, I better get my 12 to 15 every week because that's usually what he's averaging. True Silva sends in a question. Thank you, True. Says full PPR, flex Evan Ingram or Calvin Ridley. That's a really good question. Let me see where I have them ranked in a full PPR in comparison to one another. I believe I have Ridley ranked higher, but I'll confirm this just to go ahead and let you know. As it currently stands, Ingram has to be somewhere here. Yeah, I still have Calvin Ridley ahead of him. Thank you. Football says, hi, Andrew. How high are you on Tucker Kraft in a full PPR this season? In a full PPR, he's a little bit less of a, I guess, enticing play. Unless his target opportunity increases. I mean, look, the tight end position typically, on average, has about like a 78 to 82% catch rate. So in order for a tight end to be more valuable, all they truly do need is opportunity. In the case of Tucker Kraft, he just wasn't given enough ample opportunity last year for me to feel incredibly confident of his potential. But I think this season, considering all the injuries that have taken place and what he has proven that he can handle in terms of workload and his efficiency levels, I think he'll have a little bit more of an expanded role to where he can certainly vie for a top 12 standing. Again, a lot of what the tight end position really entails is that if you're not going to get yourself over 100 targets and you're not going to catch the ball over 70, 80 times, you're going to have to score 7 to 8 touchdowns, which on top of it, considering he leads the team in red zone targets last year, he also checks that box, which is very enticing. And he's really good after the catch, man. Again, 9.3 yards after the catch per reception last season. He was number 1 amongst all tight ends in terms of missed tackles forced, tied with Jake Ferguson. So really, he's up there in terms of the athleticism metrics as well. Alrighty, Charlene says, Aubrey scored me 11.3 last season. 11.3. How do you get 0.3 fantasy points? Are you going off of like, if it's a 53-yard field goal, you get 5.3? Like it's 0.1 for every... Is that how you guys are playing it? That's an interesting game if that's the case. Let's see here. Hans Gruden says, worried about Ridley with a rookie QB or and Surtain. Look, the thing is, Surtain stays on his side of the field. He doesn't typically shadow. So we're going to see a lot of Riley Moss against him. But I do justify the idea like, hey, we have a rookie quarterback against a really difficult defense that, again, is probably going to get beat up with. I see that clearly. But again, we have to understand that there's a high likelihood that they throw the ball 30 times. And if they're going to throw it 30 times, I promise you a lot of those opportunities are not going to go in the direction of Tyler Lockett, Chigoziem Okonkwo, Ao Manor, all the other kind of potential options there. Ridley's going to be enough. He's going to get enough of a target opportunity to be relevant. He's not going to be a weak winner, but he'll be relevant outside of, hopefully maybe scoring a garbage time touchdown, which carries our week. Okay, we're good to go there. Pickens or Pollard? I'd rather play Pollard. Thank you. Hey, Andrew, in a half PPR start, one running back, one flex, Henderson, Ridley, Golden, and Ford Mason. I mean, Golden and Henderson are my guys right there, easily. Henderson has to play, guys. If you drafted Henderson in the 3rd and 4th, I don't see the fear in playing him. I don't get it. Imagine if you drafted him in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round. Imagine me, it just doesn't clock. It's not clocking. It doesn't make sense to where you would utilize such high draft capital if you were going to be afraid to play him. You drafted him under the assumption that he is going to be a contributing factor. So if he's going to be a contributing factor, then you'd assume that's going to be in week 1, and it's not going to be something you're going to have to wait, 6 weeks on. Because if you were going to have to wait 6 weeks, that's a player that you drafted in round 11, like Bashal Tutin, Getting a lot of updates on my phone. Christian McCaffrey limited on Thursday. Oh, God. That's the last thing I wanted to see. Genuinely, of all the bingo card things I did not want to see, that's number 1. All right, let me go look at this practice report. If you guys have Brian Robinson Jr. available in your league and he's sitting on the waivers, do yourself a favor. Maybe pick him up. That would do you, that might be a good idea. There's no way that's the report I just read. Let me go to the 49ers injury report. Okay, so as of today, you know what's scary? The scary part was that he was not on the injury report. Wait, is this year or last year? No, this is this year. Nope, this is last year. Never mind, we're fine. Oof, okay, I got scared. Where's their actual current day injury report? They don't have one? Wow. 49ers, whoever runs that org whoever's running the team website needs to lock it in because they're not helping. Anyway. All right, we continue on. We go with a question that comes in from Supra Saiyan MKV. Thank you very much, Supra. I appreciate it. Says in a full PPR, 2-quarterback league. Set it up. Okay, here we go. I have Jaden Daniels for my quarterback 1 because of the matchup and because he's Jaden Daniels. Of course. I'm deciding between Justin Fields and Joe Flacco for the flex. What's your thoughts? The only reason I would ever play Joe Flacco is if it's a 6-point per passing touchdown format. That's the only time that I would ever consider it. As of right now, I'm assuming you're playing in a 4-point per passing touchdown league, to which I would say Fields with the rushing upside, the threat that he imposes there. Flacco with the potential of him throwing 5 picks at any given moment because that's what he's capable of at this current age of 40 years old. I'd rather play Fields there, unless, again, it is a 6-point per passing touchdown league. Should I start Aubrey if it's raining? Yes, I'm still starting him. He's the best kicker in the league. Sergio Rios says, trade Mahomes for Dak and Sutton. If you're playing in a league in which, again, you are very thin on wide receiver, then sure, you can make that move. I have no issue with it. Then I would just go pick up, quarterback and play them kind of weekly. David, what's up, brother? Just scooped Robinson in my other league. LOL. Yeah, just in case. You never know. Just in case, David. Because at this point, it's a little bit sketchy that that's the alarming report that I just read. I have no business reading a report of that nature. Why is that even a report? It's got to be troll, right? 49ers are listing Christian McCaffrey as limited in today's practice due to a calf injury. Yeah, calf injury sounds like Achilles tendonitis again. I mean, pick up Brian Robinson, guys. Please, sound the alarms. Whoop. Sound it. Not unexpected, though. It is unexpected. Anytime you're on the injury report because you're quote-unquote limited, there is designations to limited C. Like, okay, so that's not even a word. Let me explain to you exactly what I mean. The NFL can say, hey, he was limited because of injury or because of quote-unquote NIR, non-injury related rest. You could literally designate a player in that regard. So the fact that they designated him with a calf injury already begins to bother me. There's something in the water in San Francisco that gets everybody injured. I swear. It's just year over year. Craig, what's up? Says, should I bench Aubrey because it's raining? No, again, listen, the way that I see it, rain or shine, the kicker position still succeeds when your name is Brandon Aubrey and you've got the best leg in the league. Aaron sends in a question. Thank you very much, Aaron. I appreciate it. Says, in a full PPR flex, Diggs, Pearsall, Pacheco, Pittman, Kirk. Cool. Kirk's probably not going to play this week, so you're going to be able to drop him into your IR spot later this week, Aaron. And when you end up doing so, make sure to pick somebody up off of the waivers so you can fill your bench. But besides that, of the available that you did mention, Pearsall is my suggestion of the group. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate it, sir. Okay, Patrick, what's up, man? Says, in a full PPR, would you rather have Connor and Benson or Trace? Would you rather have Connor and Benson or Tracy, Eckler, Waddle, Judy? I have Jacobs, Chuba Hubbard, Rico, and CeeDee Lamb, Evans, and Sutton. It depends, Patrick. How many wide receivers and how many flex positions can I start in this league? Are we playing a 2-2-1 where it's 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex? Or are we in a 2-2-2, a 2-3-2? What's this, the current setup of this league? Thank you. Drop Bigsby for Brian Robinson. Decisions. I don't, I got to think about that. I really just have to evaluate as to the significance of the Christian McCaffrey situation. That's all we have to do. For right now, I got to think about that. Because Bigsby, I think, is going to have a pretty decent role within that offense. And this could be just smoke and mirrors for McCaffrey. He could come out with 40 touches. Who knows? We'll see. Patrick says I'm in a 2-2-1. In the 2-2-1 where you have Jacobs, Chuba Hubbard, CeeDee, Evans, Sutton. I am keeping what you have. I'm not changing it. I keep it. You don't need to make any moves. Leave it. False news. Nothing came out. I mean, as of right now, I'm looking at the official Adam Schefter, ESPN, 11 million Twitter followers, 49ers listing Christian McCaffrey as limited today's practice due to a calf injury. That is not fake. That is as real as it gets and is as scary as it gets. As someone who in his home league drafted Christian McCaffrey in the second round because it's a superflex format, and yes, he fell all the way to me, I am absolutely devastated. But we're going to hope that, again, it is not something that affects us. Alrighty. What are we at here? Okay, so it's 4:56. Good timing. We're about 24 minutes away. More than less, actually. I would probably say in about 19 minutes, we're going to close out the stream. And I'm going to go watch the festivities of the Adam Schefter reported. Yeah, exactly. We're good. Thoughts on Tyreek? Should be fantastic this week. I have him ranked in my top 15, so should be solid. Andrew, who would you start with Jaden Blue without Tracy or Javonte Williams? I would rather still start Tracy there. Thank you. So Tracy, Eckler, Waddle, or Judy over Connor? Yes, I would rather have Connor and Benson. What I'm saying is I would rather keep what you have, which I'm assuming is Connor and Benson. If what you have is not Connor and Benson, then I'm making the trade. And I will absolutely make that move. In which I'm giving away Judy, keep Waddle. Thank you. Flo, what's up? Says Leggett or Bigsby in a full PPR? That's a really interesting question. I think it... Let me see where I have Leggett comparatively. Where's Bigsby in my rankings? Bigsby. Yeah, I have Leggett ahead of Bigsby, so I would play Leggett there this week. Thank you. In a full PPR, of course, like you asked. Dak or Caleb, I'd rather play Caleb. Flowers or Pickens, I'd rather play Flowers. Dak or Jordan Love, I'd rather play Jordan Love. It doesn't look like it's raining in Philly right now. Again, even if it rains tonight, I have no concern. Zero. AJ says, pick 2, Myers, Brees, or Pearsall. Give me Myers and Pearsall, assuming it's a full PPR. I'll just cash in on the PPR stance and just go after receptions in that circumstance, yeah. Better hold Blue or Troy Franklin? I don't know if Troy Franklin's a good hold. I mean, as of right now, considering Blue's a healthy scratch, that's like the worst case scenario for his surfaces. Like, that means that he was healthy, but they're so inclined to not play him that they're going to make sure he doesn't suit up and dress. So it's probably Franklin at that point. We may have to revisit the blue conversation in like 5-6 weeks, depending on the health of a Javonte Williams. Thank you. Brian Messenger, what's up, Brian? Says Pickens or Harvey in the flex in a full PPR format, Andrew. Thanks. Okay, I'd probably go Harvey there, to be honest. Let me just check. Nope, scratch that. I have George Pickens 2 spots ahead of Harvey in a full PPR. That's where we go. Thank you. Charlene says, I put Spears on my IR and picked up Keaton Mitchell and stashing him. Yeah, that's solid. I don't have an issue with that. I mean, again, I don't know if there's enough opportunity within the backfield for the Ravens for another running back to be relevant outside of Justice Hill and Derrick Henry, and in the rushing upside of course, the one and only Lamar Jackson. But definitely not a bad stash, just in case. Travis Hunter, Jerome Ford in a full PPR. Let me see where I have Hunter comparatively. I'm pretty sure I'm going with Hunter there, but I just want to confirm. I will play Hunter there. Thank you. JCM or Eckler week 1, 100% playing Eckler. For sure. No doubt about it. Oh, what's up, Oni? How's it going, brother? Hope you're doing well. Would you roll out Ferguson or pivot to K. Dotton or Ertz in a PPR? I would still roll out Ferguson. I prefer him between the bunch. Sleeper just updated Christian McCaffrey questionable. Yep, I know. That's why I said pick up Brian Robinson if he hasn't been picked up in your league. Guys, fire the alarms. Break the glass. Get whatever, you know. We gotta go. We gotta get Brian Robinson on roster ASAP. Locks for the game. I like CeeDee Lamb more than 4.5 receptions. AJ Brown more than 4.5 receptions. Please and thank you. Samwise, what's up? Says, would you be worried about Christian McCaffrey question? Yes, I am worried. Do you not see the worry on my face? I'm shitting bullets, or no, I'm sweating bullets and shitting, I don't know, whatever the heck. We're having a panic attack here. That's what's going on. Ibrahim sends in a question, says Burrow, C-Mac, JT, Ridley, Scary Terry, Kelsey, and Zay Flowers. Pretty solid team there across the board. Says I'm in a double flex format. Okay. My bench consists of Tank, Judkins, Luther, Waddle, Jennings, Trey Harris. Who would I start in a full PPR? Okay, cool. I mean, as of right now, McCaffrey, JT, Ridley, Scary Terry. Okay. So alongside of Zay Flowers, I would suggest you play Waddle. That's the way that I would go about it this week. Thank you. Appreciate it. Alrighty. Shit and bricks. Thank you. You see, that's where my brain went. I'm so lost from that information. Listen, I'm just getting flashbacks from last year, guys. That's what's happening. Do you have any shares of McCaffrey? I have all the shares of McCaffrey. Let me let you know. I have all the McCaffrey shares. All right? I went all in. Finally able to catch one of these live. Thank you, Tony. Hope you're doing well. Click the like button down below, brother. Matthew says Caleb Williams or Trevor Lawrence rest of the season. I'm still going to stick with Caleb rest of the season, but I'd like to have both on roster just to be able to play matchups on a weekly basis until one of them proves that they're matchup, independent. Dak Prescott or Caleb? I'm still going to play Caleb there. Yeah, for sure. Achane or Chase Brown? I'm very confident in the idea of Chase Brown, but I think Achane's the play, assuming he's 100%. Just a little bit more upside in his regard. Charlene, hey, Andrew, good luck to you. Thanks, man. Thank you, Charlene. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to need all the luck I can get. Let me see what the heck is going on my phone. I'm getting notifications blowing up. Interesting. What have you done, McCaffrey? Why have you done this to us? Interesting. He didn't do nothing to us. We did it to ourselves. We know that. Any advice for an 18-team guillotine league? I've never played in a guillotine league, so I couldn't even give you advice because I don't know how it works. Genuinely don't even know what the rules are. 18. Oh, I know what it is. Okay, because it's 18 teams, it's like every week that if you're last place in scoring, you get eliminated, right? So you're trying to be the last man standing because you're just trying to not have one week that you're with your last place. The only thing I would advise is good luck because sometimes you just get, the unfortunate end of the stick. Pickens, Garrett Wilson, or Swift? I'd rather play Swift there, to be honest. Andrew, I'm in the same boat. If Christian McCaffrey misses week 1, are we playing Brian Robinson, Hampton, or Trevion Henderson? If McCaffrey misses week 1, we are playing Brian Robinson to the moon. To the moon. And Isaac Guerrero then gets picked up as well. Trade Charbonnet for Jalen Warren. If you don't have Kenneth Walker, sure. I have no issue with that if you need the running back depth. Corey Freeman says, please help in a full PPR. We need 4 between 2 wide receivers and 2 flex. Yeah, Corey, I think your question's very easily answered. I think you know the answer to it, but again, obviously looking for confirmation bias. I'm more than happy to help. Alvin Kamara has to play as one of your flex. I believe that Tedero McMillan is one of your wide receivers. I think Egbuka is one of your wide receivers. And I think the final option in a full PPR ends up going to Pearsall. So Egbuka, Kamara, McMillan, and Pearsall. DTN Rom 88 sends in a question. Thank you, sir. Says PPR, Brees, Warren, Ridley, and Cup. Between the bunch, I'm playing Warren and Ridley this week. Thank you. Rolled the dice on Christian McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill now. I'm scared as F. Yeah, listen, brother, trust me. Join the club. Patrick says May or Dak. That team also has Lamb. Okay, so you're wondering if you should play Dak Prescott because of your Lamb shares. I think ultimately I could justify that because you're trying to root for the Cowboys today and for Lamb. I'm not going to move Dak Prescott ahead of Drake May in my rankings. That rushing upside that May provides a little bit too much upside that involves that potential. So I'll lean in that. I'm still going to play Drake May there. But if you want to play Dak, I don't have an issue with it. Let's see here. Pickens or Debo? I currently have Debo one spot ahead of him in a full PPR. But if you want to play Pickens, again, it's a 50-50. They're back-to-back. Anadi, what's up? Says drop blue for Miles Sanders. Was that fine? I mean, considering the healthy scratch, I would say yes. Healthy scratch, again, is like the mark of death. You might as well just, yeah, that is as bad as it gets. Genuinely. It is as bad as it gets. Toe Jams, what's up? Long time no see. Says, hey, Andrew, please evaluate my team. Let's see what you have here, brother. In the 2-flex format, half PPR, we have Henry, we have Nakua, we have Kamara, Metcalf, Swift, Pearsall, Jordan Mason, Charbonnet, Loveland, Aubrey, Caleb Williams, and Mason Taylor and Justin Fields. Cool. I mean, as of right now, having 2 rookie tight ends is a little bit scary. Having those 2 quarterbacks are obviously going to be a matter of just playing matchups every week. So you can play with Caleb this week, and then once Fields' schedule gets a little bit less impactful in a negative sense, then you can swap back to him. But otherwise, your pillars of your team, like Henry, Nakua, Metcalf, Swift, Pearsall, etc., pretty solid. You got good, potential lottery depth with Mason and Charbonnet, who could very easily become the starters of their team in one fell swoop. So, I mean, as a team on paper, pretty solid considering the double flex format. I just probably would have liked a little bit more wide receiver representation on that bench to be able to, kind of follow up Metcalf in case Metcalf and Pearsall in case anything happens in terms of injury. But again, we'll hit the waiver wire in the coming weeks. Nothing to kind of worry about in that sense. All right, let's see here. Golden, Diggs, or Wilson? Yeah, I'd rather play Golden. Matthew Golden's going to be really good. Sorry, I meant Ridley or Warren. Oh, so I'm only playing one of the 2? So Warren or Ridley in a PPR? I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with Warren there. Thank you. All right. Tomasi, what's up, man? Says, what's up, Andrew? I trade DK for DeAndre Swift in a full PPR. My wide receivers are Puka Nacua, DJ Moore, and Cortland Sutton. My running backs are the following. If you want the running back depth, just in case, because of injuries, all that kind of purposes, sure, I don't mind it. That's a fair trade in my mind. I think it's relatively equal, considering you need the depth. Thank you. The body can only endure so much. Man, CMC should call it soon. Yeah, I was hoping that this was going to be his last hurrah season. It could still be. This could just be, precautionary, but I don't think so. Samson or Jerome Ford? Keep one. I'd rather... keep one. Jerome Ford is going to provide value in the short term. Jerome Ford is going to be the guy in the short term. If you believe that you're going to be utilizing his services in the short term as a flexible option or an RB2 henceforth in the coming weeks here, then you keep him. But if you don't see yourself starting him in any capacity because your running back depth is solid, then Samson's the guy that you want to invest in for the future. But in the same breath, I think I still keep Ford because maybe you can trick somebody by trading him out after this week. After he puts up like a solid performance, you're like, hey, you want this running back? He starts for the Browns, and then you can trick somebody in your league. That way you don't have to like fight for it over the waivers for the kind of trade value. Because that's the only reason I would ever roster him if you're not going to start him, is trade value. Trade Neighbors and Harvey for Jefferson. If you don't need the running back depth, then sure. Otherwise, that's 2 first-round wide receivers. So you don't really need to be able to kind of pick between the risk of it. Sorry, I was reading a message on my phone. Between Harvey and Jefferson, they're both first-round wide receivers. Harvey is really just there to provide running back depth. If you're like playing in a smaller league, let's say, for example, 8 teams, 6 teams, you don't need the Harvey depth, then you make the move. Otherwise, you keep it as is. D sends in a question. Thank you very much, D. One of the final questions of today's live stream before I head out and go watch this game. Again, we're closing out the live stream in about 5 minutes here. D sends in a super chat. Says in a half PPR, Pickens or Pearsall. Personally, I'd rather play Pearsall, genuinely. Especially with what I'm hearing, the run game may not be as good for the 49ers this weekend. PPR, Ferguson or Strange? I would rather play Ferguson. Thank you. Are we starting Brandon Aubrey? Yeah, I'm starting him. In my leagues in which I have him, I am not worried about it. I'm playing Brandon Aubrey tonight. Again, you drafted Aubrey to play him. We're not going to go pick up another kicker, guys. We're not doing that. Okay, we're good to go there. Matt Glore, one of the final questions, says PPR, Jalen Warren, Diggs or Downs? I would rather play Jalen Warren out of the group there. Says Vegas line says that Warren or Diggs, but worried about low point total for the Jets and Steelers game. Yeah, you know what is the counterpart to the low potential total? He's going to get the majority of the opportunity within the backfield, whether it's rushing attempts or receiving work. So you know that the volume of opportunity that he's going to be exposed to is solid enough to keep him more relevant than the alternative options. And also, he gets goal line rushing upside. So I think Warren is clearly the play there, Matt. At least that's the direction I'm going in. Keith Allen sends in a question, says full PPR, 3 wide receivers. I've got Nix, Gibbs, Bucky, BTJ, Higgins, McMillan, Kittle. That might be, in fact, one of my favorite teams I've seen all season, Keith. Who to flex and how is the team? I mean, you know how the team is, brother. You know it's solid. I mean, listen, Nix, Gibbs, Bucky. Those are your 3 starters at quarterback and running back. Your 3 wide receivers are set. Your Kittle is set. So who are we starting in the flex? It's clear in a way. It's Tracy as of this week until Rashee Rice returns. Thank you. Julian. Sorry, I coughed into the mic. My apologies. I don't know. Swallowed my own spit. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Anyway, rank my team. Left the team above. Thanks. Okay, Julian, let's see what you have here, brother. Let me see if I can find your team. He says, rank my team. We're in a half PPR. We have Saquon, Jonathan Taylor. Beautiful. Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Cortland Sutton. Great. So you invested in early RB and took the values at these stud older wide receivers. I like it. Njoku's fantastic. Having Judy and Njoku on the same team, not the greatest overall position, but we'll take it. Swift to back up more running back depth. I love it. Jaden Higgins on the bench. Going to see more value in the absence of a Christian Kirk. Caleb Williams at quarterback. On paper, your biggest weakness is quarterback, genuinely. Everything else is solidified. It's just purely a matter of can Caleb Williams deliver? If he cannot, then we'll be looking towards the waiver wire. Or you could just go ahead and preemptively go get a Trevor Lawrence right now and just start him in his place. Good to go. Good to go. Astro says Purdy x Amon-Ra or Baker x Evans. If I'm starting a duo, I'm starting Baker and Evans. They're both higher ranked within my upcoming week 1 matchups. In fact, I'm going to be tagging in on a lot of potential Baker and Evans this weekend when it comes to potential better plays. Okay, guys, that's going to cover it. Again, if you guys want all-encompassing rankings, like I mentioned before, I will reiterate. The Patreon is available. There's a link down in the description. If you sign up, you'll, of course, get the availability of week 1 through 18 rankings for half, full PPR, all-encompassing, including flex, kicker, defense, all that kind of jazz. Besides that, of course, those rankings are posted every Thursday afternoon and every Sunday morning. You get, of course, the exclusive Discord server access. You can ask me unlimited questions. So even when I'm not online streaming, you can ask away. So if you're interested, check that out. Otherwise, if you guys want Sunday morning rankings this upcoming season, like we talked about via Betr, you can get those. All you have to do today is sign up using code Andrew, make that first time deposit minimum of 10, and make that first time play minimum of $1 within a real play within one of those $10 that you deposited, and you're good to go. Outside of that, I appreciate y'all. Astro says that was a trade question. That's a trade question? Oh, goodness. I'd rather have Purdy and Amon-Ra. Yep. Give me that Amon-Ra. That sounds good. All right, guys. I appreciate y'all. Enjoy this game. I will be back after the game concludes to share my thoughts, to talk about Christian McCaffrey. I'll see you guys after the game. And then tomorrow afternoon, I'll be back, of course, live streaming prior to the Chiefs taking on the Chargers. So if you guys don't end up coming back later tonight because you're on the East Coast and it's late, I'll be here. Appreciate y'all. Much love. We're going to go ahead and we're going to cue the one and only Double Helix. I appreciate y'all. Enjoy the outro music. And until next time, see you guys. Peace.